Chapter 581 The 14th Floor of the Undersea Divine Palace. Yi-Chun didn't know that within the 14th level of the Undersea Divine Palace, a Divine King was guarding. Yi-Chun was even more unaware that this Divine King was paying attention to him, waiting for him. After dealing with a true god monstrous being from the Flame Scorcher clan and resting for 3 days, Yi-Chun began to search for the transmission channel leading from the 13th to the 14th level of the Undersea Divine Palace. After searching for a good half hour and flying through countless realms, Yi-Chun finally found the transmission channel. This time, having experienced the slaughter of the true god monstrous being from the Flame Scorcher clan, Yi-Chun did not encounter any further obstacles or other slaughtering monsters. After a flash of transmission light, Yi-Chun arrived directly at the 14th level of the Undersea Divine Palace. The 14th level of the Undersea Divine Palace. As long as I break through this level, I can go straight into the 15th level. The 15th level, after the 6th level, is the second place to possess the Eye of Creation. And unlike the 6th level that only has one Eye of Creation, the 15th level has as many as 8. Thinking of the imminent entry into the 15th level of the Undersea Divine Palace and the opportunity to find the Eye of Creation, Yi-Chun felt a surge of excitement. He had missed the only Eye of Creation on the 6th level, but Yi-Chun did not want to miss the ones on the 15th level. However, before that, he still had to break through the 14th level. This 14th level. Yi-Chun looked up at the heavens and earth of the 14th level and found that this realm was hazy, filled with a sense of ancient vastness, and from time to time, he could see huge stone carvings towering in various places of this world. I wonder what kind of slaughtering life form is guarding the 14th level. I'm afraid it will be even more fearsome than the monstrous beings from the Flame Scorcher clan. While pondering, Yi-Chun flew towards various places in this world, searching for the transmission channel leading to the 15th level. He's here. This young man has finally reached the 14th level. Seeing Yi-Chun enter the 14th level, the Rocky Divine King became excited. When he saw Yi-Chun operating a heaven-reaching divine artifact-level flying boat within the Undersea Divine Palace's 14th level, the Rocky Divine King's eyes widened completely in shock. A heaven-reaching divine artifact. This young man actually possesses a heaven-reaching divine artifact. Moreover, this is not just any ordinary heaven-reaching divine artifact, but a top-tier flying heaven-reaching divine artifact. The Rocky Divine King marveled at Yi-Chun's heaven-reaching divine artifact flying boat, his gaze filled with disbelief. When he saw the scars of battle left on the flying artifact by the battles between the Icebound Divine King and Shan God King, the Rocky Divine King couldn't help but exclaim in amazement. The battle scars on this flying artifact are likely left by 2 high-ranking Divine Kings. It seems that this young man has inherited the legacy of a high-ranking Divine King. The Rocky Divine King himself was a high-ranking Divine King. He certainly knew what it meant for warriors from the Minor Spirit Realm and the 33 continents to encounter a high-ranking Divine King and to use a heaven-reaching divine artifact wielded by one. One might say that even a 9th Tribulation True God from the Minor Spirit Realm would have absolutely no power to resist upon meeting a high-ranking Divine King. A 9th Tribulation True God from the Minor Spirit Realm would hardly ever have the chance to receive an inheritance from a high-ranking Divine King. Possessing a heaven-reaching divine artifact of such a level was practically a dream. Now, this young man who was merely at the mid-stage of the Heavenly Saint Realm had actually obtained the inheritance of a high-ranking Divine King. How could this not make the Rocky Divine King, who had been watching Yi-Chun all along, look at Yi-Chun with new eyes? Combining this with the news of True God Zhou Lin from the 11th level, this young man was the first to enter the Land of Wonders, and he was not at all panicked when facing challenges from thousands of heavenly saints at the early stage of the Heavenly Saint Realm, defeating countless heavenly saints with a single move. And considering the recent battle Yi-Chun had on the 13th level against the thousands of monsters from the Flame Scorcher clan, the Rocky Divine King, observing Yi-Chun, mused to himself, "This young man possesses tremendous strength, fortune, opportunity, and combat power. It seems that his chances of making it through the slaughter chess game have increased again." As for the inheritance of a high-ranking divine king, the rocky divine king, who was also of high rank, didn't mind. What he cared about more was Yi Chen's potential, and even more so, whether Yi Chen could use his exceptional performance from the prior levels of the Undersea Divine Palace to get through this 14th layer. For this stone giant divine king harbored a great hope, one that only the most supreme talents could help fulfill. The stone giant divine king had endured countless great purges and sought out numerous geniuses, but none had been able to aid him. Now, in Yi Chen, he saw that hope. Heavens! There is actually a divine king guarding this 14th layer. After flying for more than an hour, when Yi Chen finally saw the passage to the 15th layer of the Undersea Divine Palace, he was suddenly confronted with the colossal figure of the stone giant divine king, towering over 5,000 zhang tall. Coming across a divine king on this 14th layer naturally caused Yi Chen some fear, prompting him to bring his heaven-reaching divine artifact flying boat to a halt. Even with his formidable combat strength, facing a divine king, he had absolutely no confidence in coming out victorious. What's more, Yi Chen sensed an aura of a superior divine king emanating from this stone giant divine king. A superior divine king. In that case, he had even less hope of defeating such an exalted being. They surely wouldn't have us fight a superior divine king. If that were the case, nobody would have ever made it through the Undersea Divine Palace. This superior divine king guarding here must have some other purpose. As Yi Chen pondered the situation, he saw the stone giant divine king smile gently at him and say, "Yi Chen, young friend, you have finally arrived." Had the true gods who entered this 14th layer seen the stone giant divine king speaking so amiably to Yi Chen, or had the elders of the Flying Spirit clan and the Vermilion Bird clan seen it, they would have been greatly astonished. When they reached the 14th layer, they had never seen the stone giant divine king being so courteous to them. Of course, Yi Chen was equally filled with surprise. "Young friend Yi Chen? How does this stone giant divine king know my name? And why is he calling me young friend?" Yi Chen was taken aback and puzzled, somewhat bewildered by the stone giant divine king's polite greeting. "Young friend, there is no need to panic," the stone giant divine king said with a smile, as if noticing Yi Chen's confusion and fear, and waved his hand. "I am the guardian of this 14th layer and will not harm you." "Elder, how do you know me?" Seeing that the divine king was extremely polite and bore no trace of hostility, Yi Chen also maneuvered his flying boat to approach the divine king. This was a superior divine king, and if he truly intended to harm him, even with a heaven-reaching divine artifact flying boat, there would be no escape. In such a situation, for the stone giant divine king to be so amiable clearly indicated no ill intent. Seeing Yi Chen approach, the stone giant divine king nodded in approval. His esteem for Yi Chen grew even more. This youth was courageous and astute, clearly perceiving that he meant no harm. "Young friend Yi Chen, I learned your name from true god Zhou Lin, responsible for the Land of Wonders on the 11th layer." The stone giant divine king said with a light laugh to Yi Chen. "True god Zhou Lin has nothing but praise for you. Your performance on the 13th layer, annihilating those countless Flame Scorcher clan slaughter troops, was especially shocking to me. Elder, you can see what happens in the upper levels of the Undersea Divine Palace?" Yi Chen exclaimed in surprise once again upon hearing the stone giant divine king's admiration. He had never before encountered a guardian from a lower level who was privy to the events occurring in the higher levels of the Undersea Divine Palace. Experience tales at novelbin.com. Witnessing Yi Chen's surprise, the stone giant divine king smiled and said, "I can only see what happens on the 13th layer, and true god Zhou Lin has some connections with my clan. Hence, I was able to receive news from him." Chapter 582, The Promise of the Divine King. Although the stone giant divine king stated that he could only observe what takes place within the 13th layer, Yi Chen was nonetheless moved. Can see into the 13th layer? Does that not mean that, as long as someone had traversed the 13th layer, this stone giant divine king would be aware of it? Yi Chen had yet to encounter Jiang Yao. If the stone giant divine king truly knew about the situations in the 13th layer, then perhaps it was possible to learn from him whether Jiang Yao had been to the 13th layer. experience new tales on novelbin.com. However, at this time, it wasn't appropriate to ask such a question. Yichen didn't know much about the stone giant divine king, and it wasn't wise to directly inquire about Zhang Yao's situation. Do you show such courtesy to everyone, senior? Or is it just particular to Yichen? Yichen asked the stone giant divine king. Yichen felt that the stone giant divine king was being consistently polite, as if he had some matter for him to handle. Looking at Yichen, the stone giant divine king smiled gently. Of course, I am only so courteous toward you, young friend Yichen. Others do not reach the level that would merit my courtesy. Being so intelligent, you should guess that I have a favor to ask of you, he said. A favor. Yichen chuckled and shook his head. Yichen is only at the mid-stage of the heavenly saint rank. What could I possibly help with, senior? You, after all, are a high-ranking divine king. The stone giant divine king laughed and waved his hand dismissively. Instead of directly stating what he wanted from Yichen, he pointed toward the massive chessboard 1,000 zhang in size next to him and said, Do you know what this is, young friend? Yichen had already noticed the gigantic chessboard 1,000 zhang in size next to the stone giant divine king, as well as the 32 rock warrior chess pieces on it. With a stir in his heart, Yichen spoke out, This chessboard, it contains the aura of space laws. Could it be that this is a trial world? Does our passing through this 14th layer have something to do with this board? It was at the entrance to the 15th layer of the Undersea Divine Palace that he encountered the Stone Giant Divine King and this peculiar chessboard. It was unlikely that the Stone Giant Divine King was related to the slaughtering trial, so Yichen guessed that the slaughtering trial of the 14th layer probably rested upon this chessboard. Young friend is really astute. The Stone Giant Divine King, upon hearing Yichen's guess, smiled and nodded in affirmation. At the same time, he waved his great hand, releasing a small chessboard, 1/2 meter in size and radiating dazzling divine light, from his grasp. The chessboard flew into the void, enveloped by countless divine lights, obscuring any clear view of its specifics. However, upon seeing this small, dazzlingly lit chessboard, Yichen knew that it was likely far more mystical and precious than the massive chessboard by the Stone Giant Divine King. Looking at the tiny chessboard wrapped in divine light in the void, and then at the massive chessboard by his side, the Stone Giant Divine King finally said to Yichen, Young friend Yichen, this massive chessboard 1,000 zhang in size contains the slaughter chess game. As for the small chessboard that I have just released, it contains another set of game known as the Creation chessboard. The Stone Giant Divine King heaved a deep sigh and continued, The slaughter chess game is a trial for all warriors who enter the Undersea Divine Palace. The Creation chessboard, on the other hand, is a trial for me and my people. Slaughter chess game? Creation chessboard? A trial for all warriors? A trial for this divine king and his people? Yichen listened intently to the words of the Stone Giant Divine King, knowing that what the Divine King was about to speak of must be a matter of great importance regarding the 14th layer of the Undersea Divine Palace. Seeing Yichen's attentive demeanor, the Stone Giant Divine King nodded and continued, My Rock People tribe was exiled to the 14th layer of the Undersea Divine Palace, and as the Divine King, I received these 2 chess games. Back then, when an unparalleled powerhouse exiled my tribe here, he told us that as long as warriors traversing the Great Cleansing Ordeal passed the slaughter chess game, they would successfully make it through the 14th layer of the Undersea Divine Palace. If we could pass the Creation chessboard, we too could leave the Undersea Divine Palace and regain our freedom. Unfortunately, while warriors have managed to pass the slaughter chess game, countless years have gone by and we, the exiled tribe, have never been able to fully comprehend or pass the Creation chessboard. At this point, the Stone Giant Divine King looked at Yichen. That unparalleled powerhouse had also mentioned that if we ourselves were incapable of comprehending the Creation chessboard, we could choose one from among those who have passed the slaughter chess game in every great cleansing ordeal to help us understand the Creation chessboard. As long as someone can help us comprehend the Creation chessboard, it would also enable us to break free from the state of exile. Yichen, young friend, I have selected one warrior from the many who have passed the slaughter chess game to help me with the creation chessboard. But sadly, no one has been able to decipher it. Among this group that has entered the 14th layer of the Undersea Divine Palace and begun the slaughter chess game, not a single person has displayed extraordinary traits. To have them assist with our tribe's creation chessboard was even less hopeful. That's why I've been waiting for you here, young friend. You demonstrated such extraordinary capabilities earlier on, perhaps the hope for passing the slaughter chess game and simultaneously helping my tribe comprehend the creation chessboard lies with you. Concluding his speech, the stone giant divine king's gaze upon Yi-chan was filled with expectation. After hearing the stone giant divine king finish discussing the slaughter chess game and the creation chessboard, Yi-chan's gaze also shifted toward the gigantic chessboard on the ground and the small chessboard wrapped in divine light in the void. It turns out that this stone giant god king was so polite to him because he wanted his help in solving the little divine light-wrapped chessboard in the sky, the creation chessboard. Thank you for your high regard, senior. However, I haven't even passed through the slaughter chess game. So how can senior believe that I have the ability to understand the creation chessboard? Yi-chan spoke softly. If I disappoint senior, it wouldn't be good. The stone giant god king waved his hand. Yi-chan, my young friend, among this group of people who have entered the 14th floor of the Undersea Divine Palace, I have already seen that your potential and talent are the highest. If even you are not capable of understanding it, then I have no hope for the others. I only hope that if my young friend can truly pass through the slaughter chess game, after passing through the slaughter chess game, you will help my tribe once. Regardless of whether you can help my tribe understand the creation chessboard, I won't blame you, and I will definitely reward you. Reward? Hearing that the stone giant god king would give a reward, Yi-chan was also moved in his heart. The reward from a divine king, one did not need to think to know how precious it must be. Senior, could you show that creation chessboard to Yi-chan? If I really can see through this chess game, it's not impossible for me to help senior ponder over it. Yi-chan pointed at the small chessboard wrapped in dazzling divine light within the void and spoke out. The creation chessboard will only be revealed to you after you have passed through the slaughter chess game, and I designate you as the only one in this batch to help my tribe ponder over this chessboard. The stone giant god king shook his head and said. However, upon hearing that Yi-chan had agreed to help understand the creation chessboard after passing through the slaughter chess game, the stone giant god king was quite pleased in his heart. As long as my young friend is willing to agree, that's good. Everything else can wait until after you have passed through the slaughter chess game. As for the reward I mentioned, I can inform my young friend now. Once you hear what the reward is, you will definitely try harder to pass through the slaughter chess game. Senior, what is the reward? Yi-chan also wanted to hear what kind of item this stone giant god king would offer in exchange for his help. The stone giant god king smiled lightly and said, My young friend, you must be traversing this undersea divine palace in search of the Eye of Creation and the Eye of the Divine Sea to escape from the Great Purge calamity. As for the Eye of the Divine Sea, I don't have the strength to interfere. However, in the 15th layer beneath this 14th layer, which possesses the Eye of Creation, I can interfere a bit. As long as my young friend agrees to help my tribe ponder over the creation chessboard. If you can't fully understand it, we will still give you a jade slip to help you safely navigate the dangers of the 15th layer of the Undersea Divine Palace. Of course, if my young friend can help us fully understand the creation chessboard and free my tribe from exile, then I can reveal the locations of all 8 Eyes of Creation in the 15th layer of the Undersea Divine Palace to my young friend. At that time, my young friend will definitely be able to obtain at least 8 Eyes of Creation. Hearing the reward promised by the stone giant god king, Yi-chan was greatly shaken. The locations of 8 Eyes of Creation? To reveal them to me if I can understand the creation chessboard? Senior, how do you know the locations of the Eyes of Creation in the 15th layer of the Undersea Divine Palace? Yi-chan asked with some disbelief. Also, aren't there a few 9th Tribulation true gods? Haven't they entered the 15th layer yet? Haven't they obtained the eyes of creation inside? Seeing Yi Chen's disbelief, the stone giant god king chuckled and said, I am a divine king, after all. I know a lot about the 13th and 15th layers closest to the 14th layer that I am responsible for guarding. The locations of the eyes of creation, I am very clear about. As for those 9th tribulation true gods, the stone giant god king pointed at the slaughter chessboard that covered thousands of feet of the ground and said, right now they are all still trapped inside it. If my young friend doesn't believe me, I can take you inside to have a look. I can see how others are faring in the slaughter chess game? Yi Chun queried with some confusion. Why not? The stone giant god king smiled gently. As long as it doesn't directly let you pass through the 14th layer of the undersea divine palace, anything that's within the rules, I can decide upon. My young friend, let me take you inside now. As if to prove his ability, the stone giant god king waved his hand, and enveloped in a surge of divine light, he flew directly into the layered folding space of the slaughter chess game with Yi Chun. Within a layer of the folding space of the slaughter chess game, the elder of the Flying Spirit clan was at that moment practicing outside the 32nd level's 31st checkpoint. He had been trapped here for nearly a month and had still not managed to pass through the 31st checkpoint. As the elder of the Flying Spirit clan was practicing, he suddenly heard the 9 tribulation true god level rock warrior responsible for the 31st checkpoint of the slaughter chess game speak out unexpectedly not far in front of him. Lord Divine King, what brings you here? Lord Divine King? Hearing this voice, the elder of the Flying Spirit clan quickly opened his eyes and looked up into the sky, and then he saw an unbelievable scene. Following a strange fluctuation in the void, the huge stone giant god king that he encountered before entering the slaughter chess game appeared in the sky. At this moment, the stone giant god king was smiling and talking to a young man. And this young man, the elder of the Flying Spirit clan would never forget, was none other than Yi Chun, the young man he longed to kill at every moment. Chapter 583- Yi Chun and Zhang Yao. Yi Chun. How is this possible? How can he be so familiar with this divine king, with the divine king smiling at him so warmly? The elder of the Flying Spirit clan felt the hairs on his body stand on end in that instant. He had never anticipated that his first encounter with Yi Chun, whom he had always wanted to meet and kill, would be under such circumstances after entering the undersea divine palace. A strong sense of dread filled the elder of the Flying Spirit clan's heart. If Yi Chun asked the divine king to deal with him, then even if he was a 9 tribulations true god, he would definitely be doomed. How could this not fill the elder of the Flying Spirit clan with immense terror? For the first time, he felt that this young man, Yi Chun, had exceeded his understanding. Even as a 9 tribulations true god, he seemed somewhat lesser in Yi Chen's presence. At this moment, in the void above this folded space of the slaughter chess game, Yi Chun, who had been brought into the slaughter chess game by the rock giant divine king, also saw the elder of the Flying Spirit clan. Yi Chun had not expected that this 9 tribulations true god, with whom he had a grudge, would actually still be trapped within the 14th layer. He had trained for over 8 years in the void celestial gourd, on the 11th floor of the undersea divine palace, which amounted to a delay of a month in the outside world, but he had not expected the elder of the Flying Spirit clan to not have gotten much farther than him in the undersea divine palace. Life sure has a way of bringing people together, doesn't it? Yi Chun said coldly as he looked at the elder of the Flying Spirit clan below. The Flying Spirit clan bore a deep-seated hatred toward Zhang Yao's Divine Phoenix clan, and they had almost destroyed the barbaric wilderness continent. It was only natural that Yi Chun couldn't wait to kill the elder of the Flying Spirit clan. Young friend, wasn't I right? These 9 tribulations true gods, they're all still trapped inside. The rock giant divine king said to Yi Chun with a laugh, pointing at the elder of the Flying Spirit clan after bringing Yi Chun to this space. Seeing the elder of the Flying Spirit clan's utterly frightened expression and Yi Chun's cold gaze towards him, the rock giant divine king was taken aback and then instantly understood. It was likely that his young friend had great enmity with the 9 tribulations true god below. Divine King Senior, could you help me eliminate this 9 tribulations true god? If you could help me get rid of him, then I will surely risk my life to get through the slaughter chess game and assist you in comprehending the creation chessboard. Yi-chun took a deep breath and said this to the rock giant Divine King. As Yi-chun spoke to the rock giant, the elder of the Flying Spirit clan below seemed to realize what Yi-chun was saying, and cold sweat broke out all over him. The rock giant Divine King looked at the elder of the Flying Spirit clan, then at Yi-chun, and finally sighed and shook his head. Young friend Yi-chun, I cannot strike to kill the examinee warriors. I can't interfere with the rules of the test here. However, rest assured, if he doesn't obtain the Eye of Creation, he will eventually die in the Great Purge catastrophe. Hearing that the rock giant Divine King couldn't make a move, Yi-chun took a deep breath and nodded. Then, Senior, please take me to see the other folded spaces. Out of sight, out of mind. At the same time, Yi-chun firmly thought to himself, since the Divine King cannot help me, I will leave this Flying Spirit clan elder alive a while longer. It's not a bad thing that the Divine King cannot intervene. Sooner or later, both Jiang Yao and I will personally take action to kill this perpetrator who has brought calamity upon the Divine Phoenix clan and the barbaric wilderness continent. After burying his hatred in his heart, Yi-chun was taken by the rock giant Divine King towards another folded space. The cold sweat on the elder of the Flying Spirit clan continued to flow non-stop even after Yi-chun and the rock giant Divine King had completely disappeared. He knew he had narrowly escaped a brush with death. That kid Yi-chun. As the cold sweat poured, the elder of the Flying Spirit clan's killing intent towards Yi-chun grew even stronger. I must kill this boy, or he will definitely be a huge threat to my Flying Spirit clan. Your journey continues at Novelbin. Calm. The elder of the Flying Spirit clan truly felt the pressure emanating from Yi-chun. After observing the elder of the Flying Spirit clan for a while, the rock giant Divine King also took Yi-chun to see the elders of the Vermilion Bird clan and an ancient emperor of the Yen clan, both 9 Tribulations true gods. The elder of the Vermilion Bird clan, just like the elder of the Flying Spirit clan, was completely dumbfounded when he saw Yi-chun appear suddenly with the rock giant Divine King. And the ancient emperor of the Yen clan was equally astonished. It was only because the rock giant Divine King had only taken Yi-chun to have a look at them, without actually interfering in their endeavors inside. Otherwise, the ancient emperor of the Yen clan would have insisted on asking Yi-chun why he was so familiar with the Divine King. After seeing the 3 9 Tribulations true gods, the rock giant Divine King took Yi-chun back outside the slaughter chess game and said with a smile, "How about it, young friend Yi-chun? I didn't lie to you, did I? All these people are still in the 14th layer. As long as young friend Yi-chun can get through the slaughter chess game and help my people comprehend the creation chessboard, I will definitely tell you the locations of the 8 eyes of creation on the 15th layer. Keeping the lives of at least 8 people during this great purge catastrophe will be no problem for you." Having witnessed the rock giant Divine King's methods, Yi-chun took a deep breath. Just as the Divine King had said, he definitely wanted the 8 eyes of creation on the 15th layer. He definitely wanted to save at least 8 people's lives first. Senior, I will try my best to get through the slaughter chess game. As long as I make it through, I will assist you in comprehending the creation chessboard. Whether I fully grasp it or not, I will give my all to comprehend it. Yi-chun said solemnly. The rock giant Divine King desired exactly that answer. Upon hearing Yi-chun's words, he felt greatly relieved. Good, good, good. As long as the young friend does his best. So will the young friend now attempt the slaughter chess game? There are 32 levels in the slaughter chess game, each protected by one of our 32 rock warriors. I cannot tell the young friend about the slaughter chess game. You must rely on yourself to face the challenge. Let me see the strength of the young friend once more. As the rock giant Divine King spoke, Yi-chun shook his head. Senior, Yi-chun has a question to ask. Once I have a clear understanding of the matter, I will start the slaughter chess game. What matter? The rock giant Divine King asked with curiosity. Senior, have you seen this girl challenging the 13th floor or now, the 14th floor? Yi-chun pointed lightly, and the phantom image of Jiang Yao appeared in the void. This girl. The rock giant Divine King looked at Jiang Yao's image and shook his head. I have not seen her. In all of the folded spaces of the 13th floor, I did not see this girl enter. She has not been to the 13th floor, nor has she entered the 14th floor that I guard. Not been there. Yi-Chen's heart suddenly tightened. What about these people? Yi-Chen pointed again, and the phantom images of True Phoenix and Mulan True God also appeared in the void. These two true gods, I have indeed seen them. The rock giant Divine King nodded. They are currently in the slaughter chess game, still undergoing the trial. Hearing the rock giant Divine King's statement that he had seen True Phoenix and Mulan True God but not Zhang Yao, Yi-Chen's heart immediately panicked. He had not seen Zhang Yao on the 11th floor, and now on the 13th and 14th floors the rock giant Divine King said that Zhang Yao had not entered. Could it be that Zhang Yao had had some accident? Seeing the sudden panic on Yi-Chen's face, the rock giant Divine King immediately knew that the girl in the image previously shown by Yi-Chen must have an extremely intimate relationship with him. Young friend, do not worry. I have a divine power that can divine the current location of this girl. The rock giant Divine King spoke to Yi-Chen. Then please, senior, quickly help me divine it, Yi-Chen urged anxiously. The rock giant Divine King nodded, and with a light touch of his finger, the phantom image of Zhang Yao that just appeared in the void suddenly radiated countless divine lights, slowly spreading out like ripples. However, after the ripples spread for a while, they suddenly exploded with a loud burst. At the same time, the rock giant Divine King's face also drastically changed. Such powerful force. Yi-Chen, young friend. This girl might be in an extraordinary place, somewhere that even I absolutely cannot probe. I only vaguely sense that she is further below the undersea divine palace. Further below the undersea divine palace? Yi-Chen's face also changed. Zhang Yao has never been to the 13th or 14th level of the undersea divine palace. How could she be further down? Shock filled the rock giant Divine King's eyes as he said to Yi-Chen, Yi-Chen, young friend, there are many secrets in the undersea divine palace that even I, an upper god king, cannot probe. This girl you speak of may have stumbled upon an even more astonishing secret. Upon hearing the rock giant Divine King's words, Yi-Chen furrowed his brows deeply. He did not know whether the astonishing secret that the rock giant Divine King mentioned Zhang Yao had stumbled upon was fortune or disaster. As the rock giant Divine King was probing, in the 33rd level of the undersea divine palace where Zhang Yao was located, in the void realm inhabited by the 9 female divine venerables and the guardian who surpassed divine venerables, Mrs. All 9 female divine venerables suddenly opened their eyes from meditation and looked beyond the void realm. Someone is trying to investigate the whereabouts of the young girl we value? The brows of the 9 female divine venerables furrowed, and they looked towards the vast undersea divine palace. In the end, they saw into the heart of the undersea divine palace's 14th floor. It turns out that the little divine king of the rock people tribe is investigating. At the same time, the 9 female divine venerables also noticed Yi-Chen, and they heard the conversation between Yi-Chen and the rock giant Divine King. The 9 female divine venerables looked at Yi-Chen somewhat surprised. Could this young man have some relation to the young girl we value? While speaking, the 9 female divine venerables looked towards the sealed cave dwelling where Zhang Yao was located. At that moment, the existence that surpassed even the divine venerables, Mrs. He, was seated in meditation directly outside the sealed cave dwelling where Zhang Yao was cultivating, carefully guarding Zhang Yao. Looking towards the sealed cave dwelling, they could also see that within the dwelling, Zhang Yao's entire being was shrouded in endless divine light. Within this divine light, countless mysterious feathered wings could be seen gracefully circulating. When the 9 female divine venerables saw the endless divine light around Zhang Yao, they inhaled deeply once again, their faces revealing incredibly excited expressions. This young girl is incredible. In just over a month, she has managed to comprehend the Nirvana 9 transformations to the 7th transformation. Completely astonishing even Mrs. He. It seems that she might indeed be the first one capable of completing our trial. Chapter 584 Slaughter Chess Game. Yi-Chen was unaware that the significant secret Zhang Yao had stumbled upon was not a disaster, but an earth-shattering opportunity. Nor did Yi Chun know that his request to the Rock Warrior Divine King to investigate Jiang Yao's situation had already come to the attention of a more powerful entity on the 33rd floor of the Undersea Divine Palace. At this moment, with his brows deeply furrowed, Yi Chun ultimately had no choice but to fold away his worry for Jiang Yao deep inside his heart. Since Jiang Yao is in a lower part of the Undersea Divine Palace, then no matter what, I must go down there to check. For now, let's get through this 14th floor first. Yi Chun took a deep breath, then turned to the Rock Warrior Divine King. Senior, I am now ready to tackle the slaughter chess game, whether it was to search for Jiang Yao further below, or to get information about the location of the Eye of Creation on the 15th floor. Everything had to start by tackling the slaughter chess game. Yi Chun understood in his heart that if he couldn't get through the slaughter chess game, all of this was just idle talk. Upon hearing Yi Chun finally decide to challenge the slaughter chess game, a look of expectation also filled the eyes of the Rock Warrior Divine King. Good, Yi Chun my friend. I will be outside watching your performance. After giving the Rock Warrior Divine King a serious nod, Yi Chun moved, flying towards the space above the enormous chessboard thousands of feet in circumference next to the Rock Warrior Divine King. As soon as Yi Chun's figure completely touched down on the giant chessboard, he was enveloped in a burst of light and was directly absorbed into the spatial realm of the chessboard. Is this the internal space of the slaughter chess game? As Yi Chun looked into the space he had flown into, he saw directly in front of him that a series of giant rock formations had appeared. These rock formations, constructed from countless oddly shaped boulders, were only discernible to Yi Chun at the closest front. The successive rock formations behind them were shrouded in deeper space, indistinct and mysterious. The Rock Warrior Divine King Senior mentioned that there are 32 levels within the slaughter chess game. Presumably, this first rock formation is the first level. Beyond that, there are 31 more rock formations, which are the other 31 levels. Your next read is at Novel Bin. Calm. Let's go take a look inside this first rock formation. Yi Chun made a move, preparing to fly toward the formation in front of him. However, Yi Chun discovered that within the internal space of the slaughter chess game, there was a restriction against flying, preventing flight. He could only walk forward. Just as Yi Chun was about to enter this first rock formation, a loud boom resonated from within, and a towering rock warrior, standing over 8 meters tall with a giant stone club in hand, stepped to the entrance of the first rock formation and looked towards Yi Chun. Intruder, halt! Once you enter the rock formation I guard, you will be subject to my attack. You must either kill me or comprehend the crucial point of this level to pass through. Intruder, I advise you to contemplate the crucial point of this level from the outside. Otherwise, entering here could very likely result in death by my hand. After saying this, the towering rock warrior then stamped his giant stone club and took his stand inside the rock formation. Yi Chun looked at this rock warrior, whose aura was of the three tribulations real deity level. For Yi Chun, passing this level by killing this rock warrior would be quite easy. But Yi Chun did not attack directly. He thought back to what he had seen earlier when the Rock Warrior Divine King showed him the elders of the Flying Spirit clan, Vermilion Bird, and an ancient emperor of the Yen clan tackling this trial. At that time, those three Nine Tribulations real deities encountered rock warriors at the same power level as themselves, which suggests that the guardians within this slaughter chess game become stronger the further one goes. If one were to force their way through, they would certainly encounter real deities of the 7 Tribulations, 8 Tribulations, and even 9 Tribulations levels at the end. Forcing our way through is definitely not the best way to solve this slaughter chess game. It's quite possible to really fall into a deadlock and be instantly killed by the rock warriors. Chess game, since this slaughter chess game is indeed a game, there must be a method to solve it. It seems that comprehending the crucial point that the rock warrior spoke of is the method to break this game. You can't brute force your way through the game. Otherwise, you'll be just a piece inside it, subjected to the game's control. Only as the player of the game can you successfully break through this chess formation. Yi Chun's gaze was fixed on the countless boulders that formed the first giant rock formation. He immediately began searching for the key point of the formation. Seeing that Yi Chun didn't force his way through the first giant rock formation but was contemplating outside, the observing rock giant divine king couldn't help but nod in approval. Yi Chun is really smart. I saw him killing members of the Flame Scorcher clan on the 13th floor. With his strength, he probably could brute force his way through to the 27th checkpoint. But beyond that, it would likely become incredibly dangerous. Starting by understanding the game, comprehending the key points of the rock formations that make up the chess game, is indeed the best method to unravel it layer by layer and pass through all 33 layers of this slaughter chess game. Yi Chen's insight is spot on. The question is whether he can successfully comprehend the key point of the giant rock formation. In the end, even the rock giant divine king began to worry a little. Despite his high hopes for Yi Chun, when it came to this critical test, he didn't know whether Yi Chun had the capability to pass. If Yi Chun lacked the capability, then all of his expectations would come to nothing. As the rock giant divine king began to feel anxious, with his heart almost in his throat, he suddenly saw that Yi Chun, who had been motionless outside the first giant rock formation, made a move. In a flash, Yi Chun shot toward the third boulder on the left side of the entrance to the first giant rock formation. After slapping that boulder, he immediately moved to the fifth boulder on the right side of the entrance and slapped that one too. Then came the sixth on the left, the ninth on the left, the first on the right, and the seventh on the right. After Yi Chun slapped the boulders 6 times in total, a thunderous roar suddenly erupted from the entire first giant rock formation. Amid the thunderous noise, the countless boulders making up the first giant rock formation collapsed into nothingness, and even the rock warriors that were inside vanished. A grand path now led directly to the second giant rock formation behind the first one. The collapse and disappearance of the first giant rock formation signaled the opening of a route to the second. This scenario indicated that Yi Chun had bypassed the first layer of the trial without even fighting the rock warriors. This turn of events, before the eyes of the rock giant divine king, who had been watching Yi Chun anxiously and worrying over his ability to pass the slaughter chess game, came as such a shock that he almost leaped to his feet. How is this possible? How did he pass the first level so quickly, even faster than battling our clan's warriors? Could it be that Yi Chun has he seen this first layer of the rock formation before? But still, with 32 more layers, each one different and progressively more difficult, even if Yi Chun has seen this first layer, he definitely can't claim to have seen all the subsequent ones. Breaking through so quickly might not be a good thing. The rock giant divine king's heart was a mix of excitement, disbelief, and worry. While the rock giant divine king was intensely shaken, what he didn't know was that Yi Chun, now heading towards the second giant rock formation, was thinking to himself, the first giant rock formation was quite simple. Although I haven't seen this particular formation before, I have cultivated Lord Tianyun's 9 volumes of formation array, and I even specifically studied the basics of the formation in the 4th training ground of Minor Pole Sky. This first giant rock formation, considered the lowest-ranked first-order defensive formation in the 9 volumes of formation array, is not enough to stymie me. If only the rock giant divine king knew that Yi Chun had endured the test of a divine king and cultivated the 9 volumes of formation array from the more powerful Lord Tianyun, that he had even passed all 5 training grounds of Minor Pole Sky alongside the young county princess. Then, the rock giant divine king would undoubtedly be ecstatically jumping for joy. He would certainly exclaim that this time, he had truly found the right person. Chapter 585 - Momentum like splitting bamboo. In a matter of just over 10 breaths, Yi Chun arrived in front of the second giant rock formation. There were significantly more boulders constituting the second giant rock formation than the first one, and their shapes were even more peculiar. As Yi Chun reached the front of the second giant rock formation, like before, a rock warrior wielding a stone bar appeared from within. Discover stories at novelbin.com. This rock warrior had an aura even mightier than the one guarding the first giant rock formation. While the second rock warrior, just like the first, started explaining the rules of breaking the giant rock formation to Yi Chun, his gaze was already locked onto the entire layout of the second giant rock formation. Before the second rock warrior could finish speaking, Yi Chun's figure flashed as he shot toward a massive boulder on the right side of the entrance to the second giant rock formation. Young friend Yi Chun, he. Seeing Yi Chun's actions, The rock giant divine king outside of the slaughter chess game felt his heart skip a beat. An incredible thought flashed through its mind. Could it be that young friend Yi Chun has also deciphered the second giant rock formation? This is too fast. It's even quicker than breaking the first one. Just as the rock giant divine king was struggling to believe it, he saw Yi Chun, upon reaching the fourth boulder on the right side of the entrance to the second giant rock formation, strike out directly at the fourth boulder. After slapping the fourth boulder on the right, which let out a soft sound, Yi Chun did not pause and immediately struck toward the fifth boulder on the right. Right 4, right 5, left 3, left 6, left 7, right 2. Yi Chun struck 6 times in succession. He was unmistakably breaking the formation. The rock warrior tasked with guarding the second giant rock formation hadn't even finished speaking, and Yi Chun had already begun to break the formation. This situation left the rock giant divine king outside of the slaughter chess game, completely agape. While the rock giant divine king was still too shocked to utter a word. Boom! 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 Loud crashes reverberated. The second giant rock formation, just like the first one, suddenly collapsed, dissipating into nothingness. The guardian rock warrior vanished, and the path to the third giant rock formation appeared once again. Yi Chun, remarkably, had broken through the second giant rock formation. After that, Yi Chun continued in his unstoppable momentum, crazily blazing through the path ahead. With 7 strikes, he broke the third giant rock formation. With 9 strikes, he broke the fourth giant rock formation. With 13 strikes, he broke the fifth giant rock formation. When Yi Chun unceasingly shattered 16 giant rock formations in one go and approached the 17th, the rock giant divine king outside the slaughter chess game was so thrilled that he jumped up. He had defended the undersea divine palace's 14th layer for countless years and seen numerous martial artists break the slaughter chess game, but he had never seen anyone break the formation as swiftly as Yi Chun. He had never seen any martial artist break the formation with such ease. Previously, the rock giant divine king had been worried that Yi Chun had seen the formation of the first giant rock formation beforehand, which was why he broke it so effortlessly. But now, Yi Chun had sequentially broken 16 giant rock formations without a single mistake. At this point, the rock giant divine king fully realized that this young friend, Yi Chun, truly possessed great strength. Yi Chun was not simply knowledgeable of the formation of the giant rock formations. After all, even being familiar with the formation wouldn't allow someone to know the formations of so many giant rock formations. Clearly, his young friend Yi Chun had discerned the method behind the giant rock formations. He was breaking the formations with absolute strength. Thinking this, the heart of the rock giant divine king pounded even more fiercely. For the first time, it felt that it was so close to breaking the creation chessboard, and it was very likely that the hope for their rock people tribe to escape the exiled state was resting on Yi Chun's shoulders. At this moment, the rock giant divine king's eyes widened, fully observing every move Yi Chun made, every technique he used to break the formations. It wanted to see if Yi Chun could, like before, break the next 16 giant rock formations as well. When Yi Chun arrived at the 17th giant rock formation, he saw a rock warrior of the 6th tribulation true god level emerge from it. Seeing the state of the 17th giant rock formation, Yi Chun smiled lightly. The previous 16 giant rock formations were only 3rd order or lower. This 17th one finally looks a bit more challenging, reaching the 4th order formation level. With a slight smile, Yi Chun nodded at the rock warrior of the 17th giant rock formation and then, with an explosive movement, he began breaking through it as well. This time, Yi Chun struck the giant rocks 23 times, and with a boom, the 17th giant rock formation was also broken. A 4th order formation could not trouble Yi Chun at all. During his more than 8 years of cultivation inside the Void Celestial Gourd, Yi Chun had already fully mastered the first 3 volumes of the 9 volumes of Formation Array, left by Heavenly Cloud Venerable. The first 3 volumes of the 9 volumes of Formation Array not only covered 4th order formations but also encompassed all the foundational 9 orders of formations, even touching upon True God level and Divine King level formations. The fourth-order formation involved in this 17th giant rock formation was far from reaching Yichen's limit of breaking formations. The 17th giant rock formation, broken. Next was the 18th giant rock formation, broken. Yichen advanced with an unstoppable momentum, breaking 30 giant rock formations in one breath, and arrived in front of the 31st. At this point, the rock giant Divine King, watching from outside the slaughter chess game, had clenched both of his massive hands tightly. It had speculated that the miraculous Yichen might be able to get through the slaughter chess game, but it never imagined that Yichen could advance through the game with such speed and in such a manner. In less than the time it took to finish a cup of tea, Yichen had reached the second to last of all 32 giant rock formations. Keep in mind, even the current 3 great ninth tribulation true gods took a whole month to reach this penultimate giant rock formation. Only the last 2 giant rock formations remain. Once Yichen breaks these final 2, he will be able to get through this slaughter chess game and qualify to help us comprehend the creation chessboard. Thinking this, the rock giant Divine King had already taken out the half-meter-wide creation chessboard, waiting for Yichen. The rock giant Divine King now knew that Yichen must have profound knowledge in formations to be able to decode the game like this. Mastery over formations. Likewise, it could help decode the creation chessboard. At this point, the hopes of the rock giant were greatly elevated. While the rock giant Divine King took out the creation chessboard, waiting for Yichen finally approached the 31st giant rock formation. Looking at the 9th tribulation true god guard emerging from the giant rock formation, Yichen smiled lightly. This was the first time he had tasted the benefits of cultivating this side job in formations. If he had to rely on brute force to break through the formations with his current realm, it would have been impossible for him to reach this 31st giant rock formation and face a 9th tribulation true god level rock warrior in combat. But now, with his expertise in formations, he didn't need to battle the 9th tribulation true god level rock warrior. He could break the formation directly and advance. The last 2 big formations are left. Then let's continue breaking through. After a faint smile, Yichen moved without wasting time and began breaking through the 31st giant rock formation. Chapter 586- Emperor Yan's triple flash triple kill. The penultimate giant rock formation guarded by the 9 tribulations true god rock warrior was much more complex than all the previous ones. If a master of formations were to see this array, they would recognize it as a true god level defense formation. A true god level defense formation, if not broken, could continuously provide defensive energy to the guardians inside, the 9 tribulations true god rock warriors. This was also why the ancient emperors of the Yen clan, the old chieftains of the Flying Spirit clan, and the old chieftains of the Vermilion Bird clan, 3 great 9 tribulations true gods, were stopped outside this grand formation. Meanwhile, Yichen, who had begun to break this formation, was moving much more intricately than before. Previously, Yichen's approach was to strike the giant rocks that constituted the giant rock formation, directly destroying the formation eyes through different positions and numbers of strikes. But this time, not only were the positions and counts of Yichen's strikes different, but even the force behind each strike was distinctly varied. After striking 56 giant rocks, some of which were hit several times with varied force, Yichen finally burst back. And with Yichen's retreat, the 31st giant rock formation also collapsed thunderously and vanished. In the end, the entire slaughter chess game, all 32 layers and 32 giant rock formations, was left with only the last one, the 32nd giant rock formation. This time, Yichen did not linger long. After observing the 32nd giant rock formation for a moment, he continued to break the formation. The difficulty of the 32nd giant rock formation was nearly the same as the 31st. Breaking the 31st giant rock formation was merely more complex for Yichen, but not too difficult, so breaking the 32nd giant rock formation was naturally just a matter of time. Boom! 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 When Yichen, after spending the time it takes to drink a cup of tea, struck over 120 giant rocks on the 32nd giant rock formation 156 times, this 32nd giant rock formation was also successfully breached. All 32 giant rock formations were broken, signifying that Yichen had successfully passed through the slaughter chess game, conquered the test of the 14th floor of the Undersea Divine Palace, and earned the right to enter the 15th floor, although Yi Chun arrived at the 14th floor later than those true gods. He became the first person to successfully break through the slaughter chess game. Swoosh! As the binding force within this folded space completely dissipated with the slaughter chess game being broken, Yi Chun's figure shifted, and he flew out from the slaughter chess game. Yi Chun immediately saw the stone giant divine king looking at him with overwhelming excitement. Yi Chun, my friend. The stone giant divine king was at a loss for words to express his surprised and exhilarated state. Enjoy new chapters from Novelbin.com. He had imagined that Yi Chun might be able to break the slaughter chess game, but never expected Yi Chun to use his formation-breaking skills to destruct all 32 giant rock formations. He had thought highly of Yi Chun's miraculous ability, but had wholly underestimated how easily and quickly Yi Chun would break the slaughter chess game formation. In the end, the stone giant divine king took a deep breath and addressed Yi Chun. My friend Yi Chun, have you studied formations? Yi Chun nodded. Yes, senior. Seeing Yi Chun's nod, the stone giant divine king couldn't help but ask further. My friend, up to what level have you studied formations? Yi Chun smiled. I have also delved into God King level formations. God King level, the stone giant divine king gasped. It had been struggling with the creation chessboard, but to no avail. Through its countless years of study, it, of course, had developed a profound understanding of formations. The stone giant divine king knew how difficult it was to cultivate formations. It could be said that without talent, even cultivating for 100 million years might not allow one to achieve mastery. Some of the rock people tribe under the stone giant divine king also cultivated formations, but the most profound among these tribespeople only reached the 8th order level, and not even the true god level. The stone giant divine king could never have imagined that Yi Chun, at such a young age, had already comprehended formations to the level of a divine king. Of course, while this was unexpected, the stone giant divine king was even more thrilled. The stone giant divine king had been diligently studying the creation chessboard, sensing that it might well be a god king level formation. Now, hearing that Yi Chun had ventured into god king level formations, naturally, the stone giant divine king was filled with great hope. Perhaps, this friend Yi Chun could indeed meet his expectations and break the creation chessboard, and become the one, after countless years, who could finally free his people from their banished state. Thinking of this, the rock giant divine king could no longer contain himself. He directly took out the chessboard of the creation chessboard, looking at Yi Chun with a mixture of excitement and nervousness. Young friend Yi Chun, take a rest first. Once you've recuperated, help me break the creation chessboard. I will first project your shadow into the chessboard, designating you as the only one to help our clan comprehend this board. In a moment, you'll be able to break through this game. As the rock giant divine king spoke, he gently pointed with his large hand, and a shadowy image of Yi Chun appeared out of thin air, then flew towards the creation chessboard. Yi Chun's gaze followed the movements of the rock giant divine king and looked towards the small chessboard in its hand that measured 0.5 meter across and radiated dazzling divine light. As soon as Yi Chun's shadowy image entered the creation chessboard, brilliant divine light began to flutter and dance over the entire board. In the midst of this movement, Yi Chun felt a faint force probing towards him. As this force reached out to him, Yi Chun also discovered that the creation chessboard, which he had never been able to clearly see, finally started to reveal itself bit by bit before his eyes. Clearly, having been designated by the rock giant divine king as the sole helper for the rock people tribe to comprehend the game, the creation chessboard was finally allowing him to see. When the almost imperceptible force had fully probed Yi Chun, he could at last see the creation chessboard distinctly and clearly. The moment he truly saw the entire creation chessboard, Yi Chun was greatly moved. This creation chessboard was made up of chess pieces, each a convergence of starlight, totaling 54 pieces, altogether forming a marvelously unique starry chessboard. Even though the 54 pieces were arranged incredibly simply without forming any complex patterns, Yi Chun knew that this chessboard was definitely of God King level. What seemed simple contained endless variations, endless power. A God-King level chess formation. A God-King level formation. Yi-Chun, having cultivated the first 3 volumes of the 9 volumes of formation array, from Heavenly Cloud Venerable, only had partial insights into God-King level formations, and even those insights were incomplete. Yi-Chun did not have full confidence that he could break the creation chessboard. But at this moment, Yi-Chun was completely captivated by the creation chessboard. Having studied the theoretical first 3 volumes of the 9 volumes of formation array, this was his first time seeing a true God-King level formation presented before him, and he naturally wanted to delve into it thoroughly. Not to mention, this formation was connected to the promise made by the rock giant Divine King regarding the location of the 8 Eyes of Creation in the 15th level of the Undersea Divine Palace. If he could break the formation, he would gain clues to the locations of the 8 Eyes of Creation on the 15th level. Yi-Chun naturally wanted to try his best to break the formation. Senior, I didn't expend much energy breaking the slaughter chess game earlier. No need to rest anymore. Now I will start breaking this creation chessboard, Yi-Chun said aloud to the rock giant Divine King. At the same time, Yi-Chun also expressed his concern. However, Senior, this creation chessboard is much more difficult than the previous slaughter chess game. I don't have full confidence that I can break it, and I'm afraid it will take a lot of time to comprehend and break this game. If during this time someone else comes out of the slaughter chess game and enters the 15th level of the Undersea Divine Palace before me, searching for the Eyes of Creation, what then? Yi-Chun was willing to help the rock giant Divine King break the creation chessboard. However, if it impacted his acquisition of the Eyes of Creation, he would have to hesitate. After all, even if he eventually received the clues to the Eyes of Creation, if others had already gone ahead to the 15th level and obtained the Eyes of Creation, then the clues would be of no use to him. Yi-Chun was naturally worried about such a scenario. Hearing Yi-Chun's wish to immediately break the creation chessboard, the rock giant Divine King was, of course, willing. Upon hearing Yi-Chun's concerns, the rock giant Divine King glanced at the myriad true gods still trapped in the slaughter chess game and smiled at Yi-Chun. Young friend Yi-Chun, you need not worry about this issue. They haven't broken the slaughter chess game yet and probably won't be able to for some time. They might have to wait for half a year when the difficulty of the slaughter chess game starts to wane before they have hope of breaking out. Of course, if anyone manages to break free and go to the 15th level in the meantime, I promise, in the name of a Divine King, to summon you out of the creation chessboard, if you have not succeeded by then. I will give you a jade slip that ensures your safe passage to the 15th level, making sure you do not fall behind others. If that situation really happens, then it is destined by the heavens, and my clan is not yet meant to be freed from the exiled state. I will not blame you, young friend, said the rock giant Divine King with utmost sincerity. He even made a vow in the name of the Divine King to Yi-Chun. Seeing the earnest attitude of the rock giant Divine King, Yi-Chun acknowledged him even more, and with a slight smile said to the rock giant Divine King, "Since Senior has said so, what else do I have to worry about? I will start breaking the creation chessboard now." Yi-Chun felt the faint probing force coming from the creation chessboard, and he had already obtained the method to enter the creation chessboard from this probing force. Following the method to enter the creation chessboard, Yi-Chun channeled a divine technique with his mind, and amidst a flash of divine light, he was directly teleported into the creation chessboard. As soon as Yi-Chun entered the creation chessboard, he heard a voice transmitting into his sea of consciousness. Another helper to assist the Rock People tribe in breaking the creation chessboard? And such a young boy at that. Young man, before you break the creation chessboard, let me tell you 2 things to boost your motivation. The first is that after you break the creation chessboard, I will not concern myself with the benefits the Rock People tribe may offer you for lifting their exiled status. The second is that if you succeed in breaking the creation chessboard, not only will you help the Rock People tribe lift their exiled status and receive their benefits, but I will also specially bestow upon you a reward left in the creation chessboard by my master. This reward is known as Emperor Yan's Triple Flash Triple Kill. Chapter 587 Lord Emperor Yan. Voices suddenly emanated from the creation chessboard, startling Yi-Chun. What surprised Yi Chun even more was that the voice claimed that once he broke through the creation chessboard, he would receive a reward left within it by the voice's owner. Was this creation chessboard left behind by the great entity who had exiled the likes of the rock giant Divine King? And could it be that this great entity was the owner of the voice? Yi Chun no longer knew what realm the mighty being capable of exiling countless races and slaughterous beings within the undersea divine palace belonged to. Perhaps not even a divine venerable could achieve this feat. It was very likely that not even the father of the little provincial princess, the god king of the mountain divine nation from Wanmu Mountain of East Territory, an existence that transcended the divine venerable, possessed such formidable power. Yi Chun couldn't help but look towards the source of the voice, and to his surprise, he saw that within the creation chessboard, there was actually a 33-story pagoda. Next to the pagoda floated the silhouette of a small marten, which was watching him. "Was it you, speaking to me just now?" Yi Chun asked the Xiaodiao Guangying, unable to contain his curiosity. "Is your owner the one who exiled countless beings in this undersea divine palace?" The Xiaodiao Guangying looked at Yi Chun, its tiny head proudly raised, and said, "That's right. I was the one talking to you. I am an ethereal spirit left by my master in this creation chessboard, responsible for presiding over the trials of the creation chessboard. As for my master, he is indeed the great person who exiled countless beings in the undersea divine palace. Not only did he oversee this undersea divine palace, but also the great purges during catastrophic upheavals across many lower star continents, and even in numerous divine nations of the upper realm, all orchestrated by my master. My master is an ultimate existence who has transcended the God-King realm, the divine venerable realm, and even the sovereign realm. He is an ultimate existence who rules over countless star domains, surpassing the lower star continent and the divine nations of the upper realm. You may refer to my master as Lord Emperor Yen. Lord Emperor Yen. Stay tuned with Novelbin. Calm. An ultimate existence that transcends the God-King realm, the divine venerable realm, and even the sovereign realm. An ultimate existence that surpasses the lower star continent and the divine nations of the upper realm, ruling over countless star domains. Hearing Xiaodiao's words, Yi Chun was utterly dumbfounded. It was the first time he had heard of a realm beyond the divine venerable realm. Could it be that beyond the divine venerable realm lies the sovereign realm? And the father of the little provincial princess is a sovereign realm powerhouse? And these catastrophic upheavals, could it be they were not exclusive to the minor spirit realm but also occurred in other star continents, and even many divine nations of the upper realm faced such great purges? And this Lord Emperor Yen was able to arrange the catastrophic upheavals across countless realms. Yi Chun knew that the mountain divine nation contained innumerable star continents and governed the entire Wanmu Mountain star domain. Just being able to arrange affairs for the mountain divine nation was inconceivable. Yet Lord Emperor Yen could even orchestrate the great purges of other divine nations, transcending the domains of the mountain divine nation, extending his control to other star domains. Inconceivable. Truly too inconceivable. Yi Chun had a premonition that perhaps Lord Emperor Yen and ZG Star Lord, the one who left him the primordial star scripture, might be entities of the same caliber. After all, Yi Chun remembered that ZG Star Lord had said that the primordial star scripture was created by him after traveling across countless star domains. Evidently, ZG Star Lord was also an entity that transcended a single star domain, capable of dominating countless star domains. The True Chi realm, the Spirit Sea realm, the Rotating Pill realm, the Heavenly Saint realm, the True God realm, the God King realm, the Divine Venerable realm, the Sovereign realm. Yi Chun felt that as his strength improved, he was encountering higher levels and a vaster universe. And now, he had even come into contact with a being that transcended the level of star domains. Lord Emperor Yen. Yi Chun once again repeated the name in his mind, imprinting it deeply within his memory. Taking a deep breath, Yi Chun then looked towards Xiaodiao Guangying. Senior, did you just say that your master, Lord Emperor Yen, left behind a reward in the creation chessboard, called Emperor Yan's Triple Flash Triple Kill? What is that? Now knowing how powerful a person Lord Emperor Yen was, Yi Chun became extremely interested in the reward mentioned by Xiaodiao about Lord Emperor Yan. Yi Chun hadn't expected that by helping the rock giant God King solve the creation chessboard, he would actually come into contact with such a person, with such matters. Hearing Yi Chun's question, Xiaodiao smiled and said to Yi Chun, "Young lad, my master has arranged countless sweeping calamities across numerous realms, leaving behind countless opportunities in each realm of the sweeping calamity. Opportunities that help talented individuals escape from the dangers of the sweeping calamity. After all, the sweeping calamity is a natural state of old and new alternation that arises in this universe. Although my master can arrange a lot for the sweeping calamity, he cannot interfere with the entire universe's state of alternation. The master can only try to give every martial artist with great accomplishments a glimmer of hope. In this creation chessboard, if it were a member of the Rock People tribe that broke the formation, there wouldn't be any special reward from my master. But if a martial artist helps the Rock People tribe break the formation, my master would then instruct me to present the reward. If a martial artist is successful in helping the Rock People tribe break the formation, it would mean this martial artist definitely possesses great strength and potential. Naturally, my master would not let him perish in the sweeping calamity of the Undersea Divine Palace. Of course, he would leave some means behind. The reward I mentioned before, Emperor Yan's triple flash triple kill, is a special tactic from my master. This Emperor Yan's triple flash triple kill can only be used within the realm of the Undersea Divine Palace during the sweeping calamity, but its capability is absolutely extraordinary. 3 flashes symbolize 3 chances to evade. In the Undersea Divine Palace, as long as you have the 3 flashes ability, even attacks from a Divine King, those from a Divine Venerable, or even a sovereign-level entity can all be evaded. 3 kills, the same principle applies. In the Undersea Divine Palace, 3 kills represent 3 chances to slay. Even if they are Divine Kings, Divine Venerables, or Sovereigns, these 3 opportunities can definitely kill them. Of course, 3 flashes 3 kills only works against other martial artists who have also entered the Undersea Divine Palace, as well as the exiled killing life forms within. The most powerful beings you martial artists, and those killing life forms in the Undersea Divine Palace, may encounter are at the Divine King level, which means you won't need the full power of my master's 3 flashes 3 kills. After Xiaodiao Guangying finished speaking, Yi Chen's mouth was wide open. Emperor Yan's triple flash triple kill could even kill Divine Venerables and Sovereigns. This was simply too terrifying. Unfortunately, this kind of method was limited in uses and could only be used within the Undersea Divine Palace. Otherwise, possessing such a method would certainly cause great waves in the Divine Kingdom. Although it was a pity, Yi Chun was still tremendously moved. Even if it could only be used in the Undersea Divine Palace, having such a method meant that one would have 3 chances to avoid being killed and 3 chances to execute absolute powerhouses. That signified he now had a strong card to play in navigating the Undersea Divine Palace. One must know that Yi Chun had only made it to the 14th layer of the Undersea Divine Palace so far, and there were still many layers ahead to be challenged. Moreover, God King He Mei had mentioned that there were many Divine Kings guarding the lower levels, many of whom were utterly insane. The 2 Divine Kings Yi Chun had encountered so far, God King He Mei and the Rock Giant God King, were both rather reasonable. But if he were to encounter a truly insane Divine King, his current strength would also be in considerable danger. If he obtained this Emperor Yan's triple flash triple kill, then he would have a means to respond. He might even have a chance of obtaining the Eye of the Divine Sea. Thinking this, Yi Chun suppressed the excitement in his mind and spirit, looking towards Xiaodiao Guangying as he said aloud, "Senior, if I can break the creation chessboard, then I can obtain this Emperor Yan's triple flash triple kill, correct?" Xiaodiao Guangying nodded its head but then smiled and looked at Yi Chun. "Young lad, the creation chessboard is not so easy to break. Regarding Emperor Yan's triple flash triple kill, I have told all the martial artists who have come to help the Rock People tribe with the creation chessboard. Unfortunately, through so many sweeping calamities, not a single person has been able to break through the creation chessboard and obtain the Emperor Yan's triple flash triple kill. Many martial artists ended up dying in the Undersea Divine Palace. Young lad, If you can't break the creation chessboard, everything I've said just now will be of no use. I will even erase all that I've told you from your memory once you leave the creation chessboard. If you want Emperor Yan's triple flash triple kill, you'd better break the creation chessboard first. Chapter 588 Creation Chess Game Illusion Change. Only by breaking the creation chessboard can one obtain the Emperor Yan's triple flash triple kill technique. Upon hearing the words of Xiaodiao's shadow, Yi Chun nodded in agreement. His gaze turned directly towards the 33-story pavilion within the creation chessboard. Yi Chun had not expected that from the outside, the creation chessboard appeared to be comprised of chess pieces. Yet upon entering, there stood a 33-story pavilion within the chessboard. Is it within this pavilion that the creation chessboard is broken? Elder, Yi Chun asked Xiaodiao's shadow. Xiaodiao's shadow nodded. The true chess array of the creation chessboard is divided into 33 layers. If you can make it to the top of these 33 layers, to the very top of the chess pavilion, then you will have directly broken the creation chessboard. Young lad, to break the chess formation, now enter this pavilion and rush upwards. Yi Chun nodded, took a deep breath, and flew to the base of the 33-story pavilion, pushed open the main door of the first floor, and walked in. When Yi Chun fully entered the 33-story pavilion, one could see from outside the creation chessboard that all of the star chess pieces of the entire creation chessboard began to shine brightly. The rock giant Divine King, who had been closely watching the creation chessboard from outside, tightened its breath. It knew that Yi Chun had finally begun to officially decipher the creation chessboard. Inside the spatial realm of the creation chessboard, outside the 33-story pavilion. Upon seeing Yi Chun entering the pavilion, Xiaodiao's shadow murmured to itself, "Creation chessboard, chess creates fortune. These 33 layers of chess formation are a major test left by the master of the past, but also a great opportunity. Countless have failed to grasp it. Now let's see if this young man can seize it. If he grasps it, not only will this youth attain Emperor Yan's triple flash triple kill, but he will also gain the real benefits of this creation chessboard. If not, all of it will be nothing more than a dream within a dream." Upon entering the first layer of the 33-story pavilion, Yi Chun saw countless glowing wooden tags drifting within this floor. Looking at these tags, an extremely strong sense of sleepiness suddenly overwhelmed Yi Chun's entire body. Unconsciously, Yi Chun fell asleep right inside the first layer of the 33-story chess formation pavilion of the creation chessboard. This was a vast valley, filled with countless exotic green grasses and trees. Continue your journey on Novelbin. Calm. At this moment, at the center of this valley, numerous little sparrows of various shapes and colorful feathers descended. After these little sparrows landed, they all looked towards a huge rock at the center of the valley. And on that giant rock, a large gray sparrow sat, watching all the little sparrows. This large gray sparrow chirped away, seemingly speaking to the assembled little sparrows. And these little sparrows, upon hearing the chirps and chatter of the large gray sparrow, some were excited beyond measure, others utterly perplexed. At this moment, among the little sparrows, there was one that looked very ordinary. Hearing the large gray sparrow's chirps and looking at its own feathers, a hint of disbelief appeared in its eyes. Then, the little sparrow suddenly assumed a strange cultivation pose and began to cultivate. After 3 days had passed, this ordinary little sparrow emitted a crystal clear and brilliant light. Seeing such a brilliant light burst forth from the little sparrow, the other sparrows were utterly astonished and flew toward it, chirping frantically, while the huge gray sparrow also showed an extremely satisfied expression, nodding at the little sparrow and chirping a few words. The little sparrow then flew away from the flock towards a big tree and eventually settled into a nest. As if very tired, the little sparrow slowly fell asleep in the nest. In the first layer of the creation chess game pavilion on the 33rd floor of the creation chessboard, Yi Chun, who was deep in slumber, suddenly woke up with a disbelieving expression on his face. When Yi Chun looked around the first layer again, he found that the shining wooden placards of the entire first layer had completely vanished, revealing the staircase leading to the second layer. Seeing the stairs to the second layer, Yi-chun looked down and pinched a spell with his hand, and a bright and brilliant light surged from his body. This bright light was exactly the same as the light that had shot from that ordinary little sparrow in the world of countless sparrows. Yi-chun stared at the brilliant light for a long time. After a while, he exclaimed with great emotion, "The creation chessboard truly lives up to its reputation as a divine king-level formation, including space-time formation, illusionary formation, and even dream formation. This strange formation directly transported my mind to a new world where I inhabited the body of a little sparrow and cultivated alongside many other sparrows. And that huge gray sparrow was directly teaching all the little sparrows a cultivation technique from the True Chi Realm First Layer. Only after cultivating the True Chi Realm First Layer technique as the sparrow was my spirit returned to my original body, back to the first layer of the creation chess game pavilion. And then, the staircase leading to the second layer of the creation chessboard was revealed. Could it be that to break through this creation chessboard, one must cultivate a different set of techniques in another world? Incredulous, Yi-chun stepped toward the second layer of the creation chessboard pavilion. Next, in the second layer, he once again saw the shining wooden placards similar to the first layer and, inevitably, fell into a deep sleep once more. Boom! In the world of the valley where countless sparrows resided, the little sparrow that had fallen asleep in the nest opened its eyes again, only to see that the clear day before it slept had turned into a rainy one. The valley where it had been before sleeping had turned into a vast forest full of towering trees. As the little sparrow displayed a shocked expression, 3 other sparrows flew toward it, chirping at it. Then the little sparrow followed the 3 other sparrows, flying toward a region in the forest. Looking at that region, a huge purple sparrow was chirping away about something. When the enormous purple sparrow saw the small one, it nodded its head, then started chirping and talking again, as if it were continuing to tell a story. And the small bird, in its tiny sparrow form, understood the huge gray sparrow's language and incredulously exclaimed in its mind, "Indeed, the second layer of the creation chessboard. I've come to this world again, and this enormous purple sparrow is talking about a cultivation technique for the second level of the True Chi Realm. Could it be that I can only escape this chess formation illusion and return to my original form after I've learned this cultivation technique of the True Chi Realm's second level, just like before?" Startled, the small sparrow began to cultivate according to the cultivation technique described by the enormous purple sparrow after listening to its words. 7 days later, with the enormous purple sparrow's nod of satisfaction, the small sparrow soared into the sky. At the second level of the creation chess game pavilion, Yi-chun, who had fallen into a deep sleep, once again woke from his astonishment. With a pinch of his fingers, 2 beams of bright, crystalline light burst forth from his body. At this moment, Yi-chun also discovered that the shining wooden tile from the second level had once again vanished, and the staircase leading to the third level had reappeared. Indeed, it's a mysterious cultivation within an illusion. Indeed, it's the enigmatic creation formation. After a few emotional exclamations, Yi-chun furrowed his brow and stepped towards the third level of the 33-layered creation chess game pavilion. When Yi-chun entered the third level and fell into slumber once again, the small bird had once again awakened in the forest, and it was brought to a new realm beginning its cultivation. As 1 year passed in that world, the small bird had grown into a gigantic feathered sparrow, 7 to 8 zhang long, even carrying a layer of true chi spiritual light when it flew in the sky, which only creatures of the spirit sea realm possessed. At that time, Yi-chun had directly reached the 13th level inside the creation chess game pavilion. After 3 years had passed in that world, the 7 to 8 zhang long gigantic feathered sparrow had become tens of zhang long, and even the flapping of its wings brought with it endless gusts of the laws of the void. Meanwhile, within the creation chess game pavilion, Yi-chun had directly reached the 16th level. When 10 years had elapsed in that world, the several tens of zhang long gigantic feathered sparrow had grown to several hundred zhang in size, and with a sweep of its colossal wings, it lifted lands and severed mountain peaks. And at this time, the gigantic feathered sparrow let out a human voice. I never thought that in this world I would achieve the mid-phase of the heavenly saint realm. Boom! As the gigantic feathered sparrow flew into a palace atop a massive peak and entered a state of slumber. Yi-Chun awoke directly in the 19th level of the Creation Chess Game Pavilion. When 100 years passed in that world, the gigantic feathered sparrow that had grown several hundred zhang long had now reached several thousand zhang in size. As it flew in the sky, countless feathered sparrows falling from mountains, covered in endless divine light, prostrated in worship before it. The several thousand zhang gigantic feathered sparrow then changed its form and directly transformed into a human shape. And this human form was none other than Yi-Chun himself. At this time, looking towards the Creation Chess Game Pavilion, Yi-Chun had already reached the 30th level. Outside the 33-leveled Creation Chess Game Pavilion at this moment, Xiaodiao was looking up at the 33 levels of the pavilion, its mouth agape with surprise. Looking towards the pavilion, one could see that the entire pavilion's lower 30 levels had all completely lit up. Xiaodiao, astonished beyond belief, spoke out, "So quickly! This young man has broken through to the 30th level. One must know that the 33 levels of the pavilion correspond to the 33 minor realms of the divine feather illusion. The first 12 levels of the pavilion correspond to the 12 levels of the true Qi realm. Levels 13 to 15 correspond to the early, middle, and late stages of the Spirit Sea realm. Levels 16 to 18 correspond to the early, middle, and late stages of the Rotating Pill realm. Levels 19 to 21 correspond to the early, middle, and late stages of the Heavenly Saint realm. Levels 22 to 30 correspond to the 9 calamities and 9 stages of the True God realm. Breaking through to the 30th level represents the realms of the 9 calamities of the True God. Doesn't this mean that this young lad, in his master's divine feather illusion, has cultivated to the 9 calamities as a feathered sparrow with his original form? My heavens! Even though the divine feather illusion's time flows at a ratio of 10,000 to 1 compared to the outside, it's only been a little over 3 days outside, which is at most 100 years in the divine feather illusion. To cultivate to the 9 calamities in 100 years. And his real body is only at the mid-phase of the Heavenly Saint realm. He hasn't even cultivated in the True God realm, yet he's able to cultivate to the 9 calamities in the illusion without dying, having passed all the stages. It's simply too incredible. One must know that the time given by the Master for breaking the formation in the divine feather illusion is a full 1,000 years. He still has countless years to cultivate. Could it be that this young man could really break through the creation chessboard, and within it cultivate to an upper god king at the 33rd level as a gray sparrow? Heavens! If he truly achieves such a feat, then even if his body does not reach the upper god king like within the divine feather illusion, once he exits from the creation chessboard, the experiences from this illusion will truly be engraved in his heart, as if he had cultivated to an upper god king in a dream. Moreover, he would obtain a set of cultivation techniques that his master used to reach the upper god king. With these techniques, his future cultivation to the upper god king realm wouldn't be just talk. Chapter 589 - Breaking out of the formation. Creation chessboard chess tower outside. The silhouette of the little Martin expressed utter shock. Yi-Chun, who awoke from the 3rd floor of the chess tower, had already discovered that the passage to the 31st floor had appeared. At this moment, Yi-Chun's gaze had become extremely calm, revealing a demeanor of looking down upon the world that he had never possessed upon first entering the chess tower. This was the temperament he gained after ascending through the layers of the creation chessboard chess tower, falling into dream-laden slumbers, and cultivating within the mysterious realm of countless feathered birds to reach the 9th tribulation as a true god. The demeanor of a truly powerful being. Even though the cultivation in the dream realm couldn't truly transfer the realm and combat power to his physical body, having experienced the process from the true Qi realm to become a 9th tribulation true god in the dream realm, Yi-Chun's entire temperament had completely transformed. Teaching through dreams. At this time, how could Yi-Chun not understand that each chess formation challenge of the creation chessboard was in fact a trial of teaching through dreams? If one failed the trial, they could only stay at a certain realm stage in the dream and also could only remain on a certain floor of the creation chessboard. Yet, passing the trial meant directly learning techniques and martial skills from the dream realm, directly experiencing a major transformation of one's realm within the dreamscape. Even if such a major transformation in the dream realm couldn't truly increase the actual body's realm significantly, such an experience would undoubtedly have an incredibly significant impact on his physical body's future cultivation. After all, having cultivated once, even if only in a dream realm, was indeed genuine cultivation. After all, this was the creation chessboard left by the supreme being beyond the sovereign realm, Lord Emperor Yen. That was by no means a simple dream, but rather a genuine learning and cultivation within another world. Yi Chun, who had woken up on the 30th level, turned his gaze towards the higher 31st level of the creation chessboard chess tower. By then, Yi Chun had understood that once he stepped onto the 31st level, it was very likely he would come into contact with the God King realm. The Divine King realm? Then I shall go to that world and see for myself how one cultivates in the God King realm. Yi Chun strode towards the 31st floor of the creation chessboard. When Yi Chun stepped into the 31st floor and once again fell into slumber. In that world of countless feathered birds, within a purple mist divine palace amid a sea of clouds, a feathered bird thousands of zhang in size awakened. This bird was precisely the being in this world of countless feathered birds that bore Yi Chun's spirit, with which Yi Chun had cultivated from the true Qi realm up to the 9th tribulation as a true god. Boom! When the 1,000 zhang large bird awoke, it was immediately enveloped by an inexplicable summons. Subsequently, the giant bird flew out of the purple mist divine palace, and amidst the reverent gazes of countless other birds in the palace, it soared towards the heavens above. Flying, rapidly soaring toward the heavens above. This 1,000 zhang large bird crossed layers upon layers of sea clouds, leaping through 18 strata of such clouds. Finally, so high above that its pinnacle wasn't clear, it saw a scripture, a tome encircled by black thunder and black lightning, the secret manual's shadow. When the giant bird looked towards this secret manual's shadow, it saw 5 words clearly written upon it. Myriad Feathers God King Classic. Myriad Feathers God King Classic. This is the 6th scripture that I've obtained for breaking through the realms. After having cultivated the Myriad Feathers True Qi Classic, Myriad Feathers Spirit Sea Classic, Myriad Feathers Rotating Elixir Classic, Myriad Feathers Heavenly Saint Classic, Myriad Feathers True God Classic, in this world. It seems that only by thoroughly cultivating this scripture can I leave this world and return to my physical body. The voice of Yi Chun emanated from within the giant bird. Then, this 1,000 zhang large bird began to cultivate this new secret manual's shadow, the Myriad Feathers God King Classic, atop the summit of the 18 strata of sea clouds, upon the passage of 500 years in that world. On this day, the very summit of the 18 strata of sea clouds suddenly resounded with a heaven-shaking peal of thunder. Endless thunder and lightning oscillated across the firmament and throughout the skies of the entire feathered bird world. This scene made all the feathered birds in this world of feathered creatures, whether on the ground or flying in the skies, gaze upward toward the even higher heavens above their heads. Then all the feathered birds witnessed an incredible sight. 2 colossal wings, each tens of thousands of feet in length, stretched out from the vault of the heavens, bathing in the endless roaring of thunder and lightning. Those terrifying black bolts of lightning eventually converged onto the 2 gigantic wings, turning into patterns of lightning that traced their span. After that, the owner of those 2 colossal wings finally revealed its form. That form was none other than a peerless celestial bird with mysterious lightning patterns on its head and thousands of divine feathers on its body radiating endless divine light. A peerless celestial bird that had reached the very limits of the highest quality divine king realm. Explore more stories with novelbin.com. Upon beholding this peerless bird, countless feathered birds throughout the avian world burst into excited and joyful chirping. And in the firmament above, the peerless celestial bird lowered its head to look at all the feathered creatures of this world, a faint smile seemingly appearing before its gaze once again shifted toward the higher skies. There, 54 stars twinkled far above in the higher heavens. This world, 33 cycles of cultivation, 657 years. Now it's time to return home. The moment the peerless celestial bird saw the 54 stars in the higher skies, it furiously flapped its two colossal wings, its entire body primed to surge toward those stars. In the end, the peerless celestial bird completely vanished between the realms of this world. Completely vanished from the excited gazes of countless feathered birds. Boom! 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 The very instant that the great bird disappeared from that world, the creation chessboard's previously illuminated 33 towers, all towers once again soared into the sky with light, emitting endless divine radiance. Outside the creation chessboard, the Marten shadow, beholding the brilliantly lit 33 towers, also soared into the heavens, its voice trembling with vibration. The creation chessboard, after infinite ages, has finally been broken. As soon as the words "has been broken" fell, the 33 towers of the creation chessboard suddenly exploded, transforming into twinkling starlight. And within this endless starlight, a silhouette slowly appeared. This silhouette was unmistakably that of Yi Chun. Outside the creation chessboard, the stone giant divine king, who had been intently watching the creation chessboard, after waiting for 24 days, suddenly felt his entire mind tremble. An incredible premonition emerged within his spirit. Could it be young friend Yi Chun? As this premonition surfaced within its spirit, the stone giant divine king saw the chess pieces formed by the 54 stars light on the creation chessboard suddenly shift in position. Finally, all the chess pieces formed a mysterious pattern resembling a circular black hole. The instant this mysterious pattern formed, the stone giant divine king was completely dumbfounded, his mind as if soaring beyond the ninth heaven, because this mysterious pattern was precisely the one that the great being, who once banished it, had said would only appear when the creation chessboard was broken. The star-transmitting pattern that could allow him to return to his original homeland. The creation chessboard broken? In a tremble of excitement, the stone giant divine king finally burst out in ecstatic shouting. The creation chessboard has been broken by young friend Yi Chun. As the stone giant divine king couldn't help but shout excitedly, two silhouettes flew directly from the circular pattern, resembling a black hole formed by the 54 chess pieces of the creation chessboard. These two silhouettes were a man and a Marten. It was none other than Yi Chun and the Marten shadow that oversaw the creation chessboard. Chapter 590, The Three Brothers of Panpoluo. Young friend Yi Chun. Upon seeing Yi Chun flying out of the creation chessboard, the stone giant god king hurriedly greeted him. Now, Yi Chun was a great benefactor to it. Even though the stone giant god king was a powerful being of the god king realm, he was profoundly grateful to Yi Chun from the bottom of his heart. This is. Upon seeing the little mink shadow by Yi Chun's side, the stone giant god king was momentarily stunned. Although it had acquired the creation chessboard in the past, it had never seen the little mink shadow inside the creation chessboard. Senior. This is the ethereal spirit who presides over the creation chessboard. If your Rock People tribe wishes to return to your homeland from the Undersea Divine Palace, we will need the assistance of Senior Ethereal Spirit, Yi Chun said with a smile as he introduced the little mink shadow to the stone giant god king. Ethereal Spirit Senior? Even as a powerful god king realm being, the stone giant god king did not dare to be presumptuous in front of the little mink, whose realm it could not discern. It looked at the little mink shadow with respect, speaking with a hint of excitement. Is it Ethereal Spirit Senior who will send our tribe back to Heavenly Rock Star? Having finally solved the creation chessboard and fulfilled the demand of the great figure who had exiled it to the Undersea Divine Palace, the stone giant god king could not help but yearn to leave the Undersea Divine Palace and return to its homeland. The little mink shadow glanced indifferently at the stone giant god king and nodded. That's right. Yi Chun has successfully helped your Rock People tribe break the creation chessboard. In accordance with my master's promise, I will also send you away. However, You must wait until the end of this great cleansing catastrophe before I can send you away. And then, after this great cleansing catastrophe, another tribe will take over your responsibilities. For now, you must continue to manage the slaughter chess game here on the 14th layer. Upon hearing the words of the little mink shadow, the excitement on the stone giant god king's face did not diminish at all. Instead, it grew even more intense. Although they could not leave yet, they had personally heard from the little mink shadow that they could return to their homeland. Even if they had to wait for the great cleansing catastrophe to end, it was only a few months away. The stone giant god king and its rock people tribe had been in the undersea divine palace for countless years. What were a few more months to them? To be able to return after this great cleansing catastrophe was an absolute delight. With this thought, the stone giant god king bowed deeply to Yi Chun. I must thank young friend Yi Chun for his assistance. Without you, who knows how much longer our tribe would have been exiled here. As the stone giant god king bowed deeply to Yi Chun, in the void, countless rock people tribe members also appeared, bowing down to Yi Chun. Thank you, Lord Yi Chun, for saving our rock people tribe. Yi Chun saw that there were tens of millions of members of the rock people tribe. They filled the entire firmament densely packed. Apart from those of the rock people tribe who were still managing the slaughter chess game during the 32 layers of folding space, it seemed that all the other members had already come out. As the stone giant god king and countless members of the rock people tribe bowed down and spoke to Yi Chun, their voices trembled with excitement. Back in the day, their rock people tribe had engaged in a titanic war with another tribe across 2 star continents, and because the aftermath of the battle had affected another star continent and involved another innocent tribe, they were exiled to the undersea divine palace by a great figure. Years had passed, and the rock people tribe, having been exiled to the undersea divine palace and separated from their homeland, deeply regretted the great war from the past. Countless members of the rock people tribe simply wished to return to their homeland and live in peace. But this hope had been unobtainable because the creation chessboard had not been broken. For many years, countless members of the rock people tribe had tried, and the stone giant god king had asked numerous warriors who had passed the slaughter chess game to help, but none had been able to break the creation chessboard. Now, with Yi Chen's intervention, the rock people tribe's wish had been fulfilled. How could they not be immensely grateful to Yi Chun? Upon seeing the stone giant god king and countless members of the rock people tribe bowing deeply to him, Yi Chun quickly helped the stone giant god king to his feet, and also spoke to all the members of the rock people tribe, God King Senior and fellow members of the rock people tribe. There is no need for such formalities. I broke the creation chessboard because of the God King's promise, and besides, I have made a great discovery within the creation chessboard. As Yi Chun spoke, he unconsciously glanced at the 6 paths divine rune hidden in his hand, which even the stone giant god king could not see. These 6 paths divine runes, 3 blue and 3 red, were decidedly the trump card given to Yi Chun by the little mink shadow in accordance with Lord Emperor Yan's promise. The method of Emperor Yan's triple flash triple kill, that could slaughter everything and evade everything. Not only did he obtain the Emperor Yan's triple flash triple kill, but in the dreamlike illusions of the chess formations in the creation chessboard, Yi Chun cultivated for more than 600 years in a different world's heart and mind, progressing from the true Qi realm all the way to the upper echelon of the God King realm. While the cultivation in the dreamscape was not the true cultivation of the self, Yi Chun now had an exceedingly clear understanding of how to break through from the heavenly saint realm step by step to the upper echelon of the God King realm. All he lacked now was time and true cultivation. The Emperor Yan's triple flash triple kill gave him a strong foundation to continue venturing further into the undersea divine palace. The cultivation in the dreamscape, however, gave Yi Chun an even greater certainty of his future accomplishments. In addition, the stone giant god king had promised that after breaking the creation chessboard, he would reveal the location of the 8 eyes of creation on the 15th layer to him. It could be said that Yi Chen's gains in this 14th layer of the undersea divine palace were extraordinarily great. Furthermore, he had smoothly broken through from the early stage of the heavenly saint realm to the middle stage within the ethereal gourd, and significantly enhanced many of his skills and battle power. If it were not for the shadow of the great cleansing catastrophe looming in his heart, If it were not for his concern for Jiang Yao's safety, Yi Chun might even feel that this great cleansing catastrophe was a good opportunity for him. Of course, even now, with the shadow of the great cleansing catastrophe still looming, once he had the clues to the 8 eyes of creation on the 15th layer, Yi Chun would at least have 8 chances to save his life and the lives of the 8 people he most wanted to save. With the method of Emperor Yan's triple flash triple kill in hand, plunging deeper into the undersea divine palace to find the Eye of the Divine Sea, also held a solid foundation of confidence. While Yi Chun silently marveled, the colossal hand of the rock giant divine king that Yi Chun had helped up also moved, and 2 half-meter-long stones appeared in its grasp. Then, after the rock giant divine king's fingers flickered with divine light over the 2 stones for a moment, it handed them to Yi Chun. Young friend Yi Chun, one of these stones is a message I wish you to carry to the guardians of the 15th floor of the undersea divine palace, the Pampoluo tribe. With this stone, the Pampoluo tribe will not interfere with your search for the Eye of Creation, the rock giant divine king said. The second stone holds the locations of the 8 eyes of creation in the 15th floor. A message for the Pampoluo tribe? And the locations of the 8 eyes of creation. Yi Chun looked at the 2 stones he had received. As he sensed the information in the divine light fluctuations on the stones, his eyes lit up as well. At this moment, the little marten shadow beside him laughed and looked at Yi Chun. Yi Chun, being able to break the creation chessboard means you are a person of great fortune and great strength. This great cleansing calamity should hardly be an obstacle for you. I hope that, in the future, you will have the chance to meet my master in person. My master is a supreme being. The creation chessboard is just a minor treasure among the countless he possesses, and there are many more astonishing items that even I have never seen. Should you have the opportunity to meet my master, you might gain even greater fortunes from him. I believe my master will pay great attention and place great value on a young genius like you. Hearing the words of the little marten shadow, Yi Chun put away the 2 stones, looked at the shadow, and smiled as he nodded. Then Yi Chun also raised his head to look at the heavens beyond. Lord Emperor Yan? An existence that surpasses the realm of sovereigns. Indeed, I do wish to meet this great being, who commands countless star domains and orchestrates so many great cleansing calamities across numerous worlds. What might they be like? In the midst of conversation between Yi Chun, the rock giant divine king, and the little marten shadow, on the 33rd floor of the undersea divine palace, in the mysterious void where Jiang Yao was situated, the 9 goddesses were also revealing expressions of disbelief. They had begun to pay attention to the 14th floor when the rock giant divine king was helping Yi Chun in the search for Jiang Yao. Unexpectedly, this attention led them to witness Yi Chun breaking the great formation of the creation chessboard on the 14th floor, and ultimately, Yi Chun actually succeeded in dismantling it. This certainly shocked them to the core. This young man, who might be related to the little girl we value, actually broke through Lord Emperor Yan's creation chessboard, and even helped the Rock People tribe on the 14th floor escape their exile, they exclaimed. These 9 divine ladies, along with Mrs. He who had transcended to the realm of sovereigns, were appointed by Lord Emperor Yan to preside over the great cleansing calamities of the lower planes in the Million Veils Mountain Star domain for 3 million years. They, of course, had a thorough understanding of the affairs within the undersea divine palace. They operated independently from the little marten shadow, who was solely responsible for the 14th floor's creation chessboard, and were unknown to it. However, after presiding over the great cleansing calamities of the lower planes within the Million Veils Mountain Star domain, they had already learned from Lord Emperor Yan about the countless opportunities left by him for martial artists during countless cleansing calamities. And of course, they were aware of the matters concerning the creation chessboard and the Rock People tribe. They also knew how difficult the creation chessboard was to break. None of the 9 divine ladies had expected the array to be broken by this young teenager in the middle phase of the heavenly saint realm. It seems that after our valued young girl emerges from her cultivation, we must inquire about this young man. Although he is a teenager and not suitable to be the heir of our tribe, he is somehow connected to the young girl we value, and his miraculous nature makes it necessary for us to get to know him. As the divine ladies spoke, their gazes shifted back from the 14th floor to Zhang Yao, who was cultivating in the sealed cave. Since Zhang Yao's arrival in the sealed cave, just over 2 months had passed. But astonishingly, she had already cultivated the Nirvana 9 transformations, required by Mrs. He to the 8th transformation. She was only 1 step away from fulfilling Mrs. He's request of completing the Nirvana 9 transformations within 6 months. Yi Chun was unaware that on the deepest 33rd floor of the Undersea Divine Palace, there lurked figures more mysterious than the little Martin shadow from the 14th floor's creation chessboard, such as Mrs. He and the 9 divine ladies. He also didn't know that Zhang Yao was in their company, cultivating. At this moment, Yi Chun had already flown into the passage leading from the 14th floor to the 15th floor of the Undersea Divine Palace. After receiving the locations of the 8 eyes of creation on the 15th floor from the rock giant Divine King and discussing the care of those related to him still in the slaughter chess game, such as the true god Jinfeng Mayan, Yi Chun could hardly wait to enter the 15th floor. He was eager to get his hands on the 8 eyes of creation. Explore more stories with novelbin.com. The 15th floor is guarded by the Panpoluo tribe? Yi Chun thought. Having heard from the rock giant Divine King, the Panpoluo tribe was led by 3 Panpoluo brothers, notorious for their prowess. It seemed he would soon be meeting them. Chapter 591-Meeting Each Other. As thoughts flickered through Yi Chun's mind, he had already been transported from the 14th level of the Undersea Divine Palace to the 15th. Each level of the Undersea Divine Palace was a new world. He would face new lethal life forms, new crises, and of course, new opportunities. However, when Yi Chun entered the 15th level of the Undersea Divine Palace, his state of mind was completely different from when he entered the previous levels. Because in the 15th level there were 8 Eye of Creation, and Yi Chun now had the locations of these 8 Eye of Creation in hand. Even for the guardian of the 15th level, the Panpoluo clan, Yi Chun no longer needed to worry about them thanks to the communication stone from the Divine King of the Stone Giants. The 15th level was destined to be a level where Yi Chun would make a great harvest. Yi Chun was certainly full of anticipation for entering it. Whoosh! As soon as Yi Chun arrived in the 15th level, his first feeling was fresh air, vast expanses, a sense of freedom like a fish bounding in the ocean and a bird soaring in the high heavens. For this 15th level was an ocean world as far as the eye could see. At that moment, Yi Chun was teleported into the sky above this ocean world, looking down at an endless expanse of azure seas, and up at a sky as clear blue as crystal. The sky was clear and bright. This world made Yi Chun involuntarily take several deep breaths, feeling that the fatigue from navigating the previous levels had been wiped away. This 15th level, worthy of having Eye of Creation, is truly a wonderful place, Yi Chun exclaimed. While Yi Chun was marveling, the azure sea below suddenly rippled, followed by a rustling sound, and a large group of halberd-wielding half-fish, half-human creatures flew out of the sea, completely surrounding Yi Chun. This person has come to the 15th level. He must be here to search for treasures on our 15th level. Capture the intruder and lock him in the sea prison. After surrounding Yi Chun, these half-fish, half-human creatures directly rushed forward, making a move on Yi Chun. This group of half-fish, half-human creatures, numbering 52 in total, had an extraordinary aura about them. Almost uniformly, they were all at the level of a 5 tribulations true god, and there were even 8 among them who were 6 tribulations true gods. Seeing these creatures come at him, Yi Chun smiled lightly, waved his sleeve, and sent all 52 creatures flying backward, 10 or so meters away. Even the 6 tribulations true gods among them were spun around in the air by Yi Chun's force, taking several turns before finally stabilizing their forms. Yi Chun's move shocked these half-fish, half-human creatures. These half-fish, half-human creatures, upon scouting below and seeing that it was just a young boy who had come alone, and that the young boy's aura was only at the mid-stage of Heavenly Saint, decided to send a small team to capture him. But they never expected that this young boy alone could repel all of them. Not even the 6 tribulations true gods could resist the power of this young boy's true chi. This was truly inconceivable for these half-fish, half-human creatures. Are you members of the Panpoluo clan? Yi-chun asked, smiling at the half-fish, half-human creatures he had just sent flying. However, these half-fish, half-human creatures paid no mind to Yi-chun's inquiry, staring at him in terror while emitting sharp cries. These sharp cries rapidly spread into the azure sea below. In almost an instant, vast waves, thousands of meters in diameter, stirred up within the blue ocean, and countless creatures, densely packed, burst out from beneath the waves. There were tens of thousands of creatures in total. The vast majority of these tens of thousands of creatures looked exactly like the ones from before, also half-fish and half-human in form. And their realms were roughly at the level of 5 tribulations and 6 tribulations true gods. However, there were 10 demonic creatures that were starkly different from these half-fish, half-human creatures. These 10 creatures, also emerging densely from the tens of thousands, were notably the most powerful among them, each one having reached the level of a 7 tragedies true god. These 10 creatures, humanoid in form and roughly the size of an adult warrior, oddly had a strange shell shaped like an enormous sea snail shell growing from their backs. When Yi-chun saw the bizarre appearance of these 10 7 tragedies true god creatures, a thought struck him. Could it be that the earlier half-fish, half-human creatures weren't from the Panpoluo clan, and these 10 7 tragedies true god creatures actually are? Originally, Yi-chun was puzzled when, on the 13th floor of the Undersea Divine Palace, he encountered an assault by the Flame Scorcher clan creatures, over 5,000 of them, including 200 to 300 of the 6 tragedies true god level. As a result, on the 15th floor, the mere 52 half-fish, half-human creatures that had tried to capture him earlier made Yi-chun wonder why there were so few creatures on this level. Now, suddenly surrounded by tens of thousands of creatures, nearly all of them 5 tragedies or 6 tragedies true gods, with even 10 7 tragedies true gods among them, Yi-chun realized that this 15th floor, hiding the eye of creation, was indeed extraordinary. As Yi-chun was marveling internally, the foremost among the 10 creatures with the strange sea snail-shaped shells on their backs directly shouted at Yi-chun, "Young boy, you dare resist the capture of the Panyu clan, a subordinate clan of our Panpoluo clan? This 15th floor of the Undersea Divine Palace is guarded by 3 great kings of our clan. Even a 9 tragedies true god would not dare to be rampant here, yet you are quite bold. Men, capture him. If he resists again, kill without mercy." The creature with the strange shell was obviously a decisively murderous one. With a wave of its hand, the tens of thousands of half-fish, half-human creatures surged towards Yi-chun. Subordinate Panyu clan of the Panpoluo clan? I had thought this floor was only inhabited by creatures of the Panpoluo clan, and that another type of murderous life form, similar to the one on the 14th floor, lay concealed, never to emerge. It turns out that the Panpoluo clan is capable indeed, having made another murderous life form willingly serve as their subordinate. 3 great kings in command, and not even a 9 tragedies true god dares to run amok? Could it be that the 3 Panpoluo brothers are those 3 great kings, and they are not among these 10 powerful demons? Are the Panpoluo brothers even stronger than a 7 tragedies true god? Yi-chun had originally thought that the 3 Panpoluo brothers, who were to convey messages from the rock giant divine king, would be among these 7 tragedies true god creatures. Yet they hadn't shown themselves. It seems that there are indeed many hidden demonic creatures in this ocean world. Seeing the Panpoluo clan creature summon the tens of thousands of Panyu clan creatures to move against him again, Yi-chun had no intention of wasting words with these demons any longer. With a swoosh, Yi-chun directly took out the half-meter-long rock given to him by the rock giant divine king, specifically for the Panpoluo clan leaders, the 3 Panpoluo brothers, to carry a message. I have a message from the rock giant divine king, 3 great kings of the Panpoluo clan. Please come out and meet me. Yi-chun's thunderous voice spread through the azure sea. At the same time, he waved his large hand, throwing the half-meter-long rock right into the azure sea. With the divine light left on the half-meter-long rock by the rock giant divine king, Yi-chun believed that once it entered the ocean below, the 3 Panpoluo brothers would definitely sense it. Thud! The half-meter-long rock plunged into the sea, causing just a small splash. The tens of thousands of Panyu clan creatures, as well as the 10 Pampoluo clan creatures heading towards Yichan, were taken aback by his words and actions. A message from the rock giant Divine King? Who is that? These creatures were not at a level to know about the rock giant Divine King, and for a moment they were somewhat perplexed. Just as they thought Yichan was pulling some trick and many of them were itching to attack him again, the azure ocean below suddenly stirred up towering waves. Amidst the towering waves, a voice of utter shock called out, "A message from the Divine King! The esteemed friend of the Divine King, Mr. Yichan, has come to our 15th floor?" Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Amidst this voice full of shock, the towering waves split apart, and 3 figures, each several tens of zhang long and also bearing odd sea snail-shaped shells on their backs, rose from the ocean and flew into the air. Looking at these 3 figures, one of them was holding the very piece of half-meter rock that Yichan had just thrown into the sea. All 3 figures were indeed of the 9 tragedies' true god realm. 3 sets of divine eyes shone as they flew from the sea and directly looked towards Yichan, all shaking as they addressed him. "Are you Mr. Yichan?" Chapter 592-Eye of Creation. As these 3 9 tribulations true gods burst forth, the creatures of the Panyu clan and the Pampoluo clan quickly backed away, prostrating on the ground. "Your Majesty!" However, the 3 9 tribulations true gods were oblivious to them, merely watching Yichan with caution. Yichan, at this moment, offered a faint smile as he looked at the 3 figures before him and said, "Are the 3 of you the 3 brothers from the Pampoluo clan that Senior Divine King mentioned?" "Indeed, I am Yichan." The indifferent demeanor of Yichan starkly contrasted with the fright of the creatures behind him. Clearly, Yichan's expression revealed that he had no fear, even in the presence of 3 9 tribulations true gods. The 3 9 tribulations true gods harbored no anger at Yichan's indifferent attitude. Upon hearing that the person before them was Yichan, the one mentioned in the communication stone by the rock giant Divine King, all 3 9 tribulations true gods approached him with beaming smiles. The eldest among them said with a laugh, "Yichan is a benefactor of Lord Divine King. Please don't call us seniors. You may address us as fellow Taoists." "Yichan, this is my second brother, Pampa Wu, and this is my youngest brother, Pampa Ching," said the eldest, pointing to the 2 9 tribulations true gods beside him as he introduced them to Yichan. Lastly, he added with a smile, "My name is Pampa Zhan. Yichan may address me as fellow Taoist Zhan. Senior Zhan, Senior Wu, Senior Qing." Yichan greeted the 3 9 tribulations true gods with a fist salute and said with a smile, "It's a disturbance for Yichan to be here on the 15th level." Although the 3 9 tribulations true gods were cordial, Yichan did not presume to act arrogantly in front of these creatures who had cultivated for countless years. He maintained a respectful tone without being overbearing or humble. By his side, the second brother from the Pampoluo clan, Pampa Wu, nodded at Yichan with a smile, glanced at the 2 terrified clans of creatures, and then raised his voice to them. "This Yichan is our honored guest. You may all stand down. We 3 will attend to fellow Taoist Yichan." "As you command, Your Majesty." Tens of thousands of creatures from the Panyu clan and the Pampoluo clan quickly kneeled, hurriedly withdrew, and then flew into the blue ocean below. As they flew away, the creatures were incredibly shocked. "My heavens, who is this youth that all 3 majesties have come out personally to greet? We have followed the majesties for so many years and have never seen them treat anyone with such courtesy." Among them, the 10-7 tribulations true gods of the Pampoluo clan were especially astonished. "Look at the majesties. They even seem somewhat fearful of this youth." The majesties also mentioned that the youth is a benefactor of a divine king. Heavens, although we do not know which divine king, being able to become a benefactor of such a being is simply terrifying. Divine kings are beings even more powerful than our majesties. Such entities, would they really need the help of common warriors? And this youth was able to aid a divine king. Amidst their astonishment and shock, even after they had returned to the sea, the creatures were still unable to calm their emotions for a long time. They knew that the one who had arrived at the 15th level of the Undersea Divine Palace was not an ordinary intruder but a formidable figure indeed. After seeing the two clans of creatures disperse, the eldest of the Pampoluo clan triplet, Pampajan, then said to Yichun, "Fellow Taoist Yichun, you must be here on the 15th level to find the Eye of Creation." Within the communication stone given to them by the rock giant Divine King, he spoke of Yichun's purpose on the 15th level and asked them to aid Yichun. Therefore, having seen their clan creatures withdraw, the eldest of the triplets directly inquired about this matter with Yichun. Yichun nodded. "Yes, I indeed came for the 8 eyes of creation." While speaking, Yichun gazed up at the vast sea below, comparing the position of the 8 eyes of creation, given to him by the rock giant Divine King, with the location and positioning himself accordingly. The Pampoluo triplets all smiled. "Fellow Taoist Yichun, we have been in this 15th level for tens of thousands of years and are familiar with every place. Though we do not know the exact locations of the eyes of creation, Lord Divine King mentioned that fellow Taoist Yichun already has their positions. Wherever you wish to go, we 3 brothers can guide you." Seeing the enthusiastic offering of the Pampoluo clan triplets, Yichun paused for a moment before nodding with a smile. "Then I will be in your care, seniors." Yichun could see that these 3 brothers of the Pampoluo clan were truly warm towards him, not because of any ulterior motives but due to the rock giant Divine King's influence. Moreover, eyes of creation were only useful to warriors entering the Undersea Divine Palace. They held little value to exiles, so it was clear that these brothers would hardly harbor any ill intentions towards him because of the eyes of creation. Furthermore, with Yichun's trump card, Emperor Yan's triple flash triple kill, even if there was a 1 in a million chance of danger, he had the means to respond. Under these circumstances, Yichun was unabashed about accepting the brothers' eager assistance. After all, the Pampoluo clan triplets were 3 9 Tribulations true gods and were extremely familiar with the Undersea Divine Palace's 15th level. Their help would undoubtedly make the search for the eyes of creation much easier. "No trouble at all, no trouble at all." Seeing Yichun agree to their aid, the Pampoluo clan triplets were overjoyed. They smiled at Yichun. "Where does fellow Taoist Yichun wish to go first?" Yichun took out another stone given by the rock giant Divine King with the locations of the 8 eyes of creation, and, pointing in a northern direction, said, "There happens to be an eye of creation closest to this teleportation spot. Let's head to that location first." "Great!" The 3 brothers of the Pampoluo clan also saw the location pointed out by Yichun and, after estimating the distance, led the way directly in front of Yichun. "This position is only thousands of miles away from here. We will arrive very soon." Boom! 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 As they spoke, the 3 Jujie true gods of the clan flew ahead. Yichun too smiled and followed closely behind them. Initially, the 3 Jujie true gods, worried that Yichun's realm might not keep up, deliberately slowed down. To their surprise, they found Yichun followed them effortlessly. The Pampoluo siblings exchanged glances and unconsciously picked up the pace slightly, only to see that Yichun still followed them steadily and unhurriedly. It was not until they increased their speed to the level of Qijie true gods that they felt Yichun could keep up with their pace. Just as the siblings were preparing to boost their speed to the level of Ba Jie true gods, they heard Yichun laugh and say, "Seniors, if you speed up any more, I won't be able to keep up." Upon finally hearing Yichun's voice, the 3 brothers of the Pampoluo clan heaved a long sigh of relief, with the youngest, Pampa Ching, laughing and exclaiming to Yichun, "If friend Yichun hadn't spoken up, we 3 brothers might have been scared to death. Even though it appears you're only in the mid-phase of Heaven Saint, the speed at which you fly is incredibly fast. It's truly unbelievable." At this point, the 3 brothers became even more interested in how Yichun had assisted the Rock People Divine King. "Right, friend Yichun. Since the Divine King is an upper god king, how were you able to help him? He even regards you as his great benefactor." When the Pampoluo siblings received the message stone from the Rock People Divine King and saw the message, especially the part where the Divine King referred to Yichun as his great benefactor, they were utterly astounded. That was also the reason why they were so courteous to Yi Chun as soon as they left the ocean. If the Rock People Divine King was so courteous to Yi Chun, how could they dare not to be? Of course, amidst their extreme politeness, they were also very curious about Yi Chen's assistance to the Rock People Divine King, and had been too shy to ask all the way. Now they couldn't help but ask. Yi Chun smiled lightly and explained the affair of the creation chessboard. At this point, the creation chessboard was already broken, and the Rock People Divine King and his tribe could finally extricate themselves from their exiled state. Thus, there was no need to continue hiding information about the creation chessboard. The creation chessboard? Hearing Yi Chun finish talking about the creation chessboard, the Pampoluo siblings were also shaken. We heard from the Divine King long ago that their people were trapped in a great puzzle, struggling for countless ages without escape. We didn't expect that it was Friend Yi Chun who helped the Divine King and his people break free. Friend Yi Chun saved the entire Rock People tribe. No wonder the Divine King calls you a great benefactor. The three brothers of the Pampoluo clan were deeply moved. Hearing what the Pampoluo siblings had to say, Yi Chun also finally asked a question he had. Speaking of which, since you three seniors guard the 15th level, how did you become so acquainted with the Divine King? It seems that you three seniors and the Divine King have a deep friendship, to the extent that you even know about the Divine King's people being trapped in a great puzzle. Speaking of this, there's a long story, answered Pampajan, the eldest of the Pampoluo siblings, with a light sigh after Yi Chen's question. Actually, it's thanks to the Divine King's assistance that the three of us had the opportunity to be assigned to safeguard the 15th level. All this started after every major purge, when all the exiled clans were required to face a great trial. The Pampoluo siblings spoke with Yi Chun about the affairs between them, other exiled clans, and the Rock People Divine King as they flew towards the location of the first Eye of Creation. Through the siblings' words, Yi Chun finally understood why they had relations with the Rock People Divine King. It turns out that after each major purge cataclysm, all of the exiled clans were transported to a mysterious space to undergo a grand test of strength between the clans. The clans had to endure various trials to contend for their exiled positions within the Undersea Divine Palace. The Undersea Divine Palace spanned 33 levels, each with its differences. Levels with the Eye of Creation, precious cultivation sites, and levels with hidden treasures were extremely precious to the exiled clans. Naturally, such levels sparked fierce competition among countless exiled clans. Many clans that failed to prevail often did not even qualify to enter the 33 levels of the Undersea Divine Palace, and were instead confined to a special space. The three brothers of the Pampoluo clan had managed to secure the guardianship of the 15th level of the Undersea Divine Palace during such a competition, thanks to the care of the Rock People Divine King. Within the 15th level, the true chi of heaven and earth was immeasurably abundant, and the myriad precious cultivation sites greatly assisted the cultivation of the entire Pampoluo clan. Naturally, the three brothers of the Pampoluo clan were extremely grateful to the Rock People Divine King. Finally understanding the connection between the Pampoluo siblings and the Rock People Divine King, Yi Chun reached the territory of the first Eye of Creation with the Pampoluo siblings during their flight. Chapter 593- Gaining Control and the Giant Beast. This is a sea area shrouded in mist. From outside the sea area, one could hardly feel the aura of any treasures. Even after flying into this mist dash, the difference between this sea area and others was not detectable. It was only after Yi Chun and the three brothers of the Pampoluo clan had stood firm in this domain and searched carefully, that they finally noticed something wrong with this sea area. In a very small range, the waters from all directions were flowing toward the same central point. It was as if all these waters were pouring into the same deep hole. Something's not right here. Pampa Wu, the second of the three brothers of the Pampoluo clan who first noticed the anomaly in this small area of the sea, cried out. In an instant, Yi Chun, Pampajan, and Pampa Ching flashed through the void and flew to Pampa Wu's side. All four sets of eyes turned to the center of the small area where the water was flowing. This water. It is very likely that one of the 8 eyes of creation, from the 15th floor of the Undersea Divine Palace, is hidden here. Upon exchanging glances, the same thought flashed through their minds. At that moment, Yi activated his divine soul skill Destruction Eye skills, known for unveiling hidden secrets. With the imposing power of the destruction character, he gazed toward the center where all the waters converged. After observing for a few breaths, Yi pointed sharply in the air, and an ordinary-looking droplet of water was suddenly ejected from the flowing waters at the center, flying into Yi-chen's hand. Yi-chan, my friend? When Yi-chan made his move, the three brothers of the Pampoluo clan were taken aback. Having noticed something amiss with this part of the sea, they had activated various divine powers, ready to assist Yi-chan in finding the Eye of Creation. However, even as their divine powers were at work, they had not noticed any signs of the Eye of Creation. They could only watch Yi-chen's actions, causing the brothers' hearts to skip a beat. Could it be that friend Yi-chan has discovered the Eye of Creation? We are all 9 calamities true gods, and we haven't detected the Eye of Creation. Could it be that friend Yi-chan has some special treasure hunting method? The three brothers of the Pampoluo clan stared disbelief at the droplet that Yi-chan had drawn from the water. Even now, staring at this droplet, they couldn't detect anything unusual. At this time, Yi-chan let out a light smile and sharply tapped on the droplet. As if a mysterious force had been activated, the ordinary droplet started to expand rapidly. In an instant, it grew from the size of a mung bean to the size of a human head. What was even more amazing was that the head-sized droplet still maintained its pure appearance. The only difference was the lines of divine patterns that began to surface on it. After Yi-chen's tap, these divine patterns started to twist in various directions. After a few breaths, a light crack sounded, and the head-sized droplet shattered, revealing an object inside. This object was a fist-sized, translucent crystal orb with mysterious and intricate patterns embedded within, displaying an unusually beautiful purple-red color. If it wasn't the Eye of Creation that had been described on the rule tokens of the Undersea Divine Palace, then what could it be? The Eye of Creation. My God! This Eye of Creation was actually hidden inside an ordinary droplet in the vast ocean. If not for the location received from the Divine King, I'm afraid that even if many overturned the 15th floor entirely, they would likely never find this droplet containing the Eye of Creation. What's even more amazing is that you, friend Yi-chan, could discover the Eye of Creation inside this droplet. The three of us have worn out our eyes and still failed to see any anomaly in it. The three brothers of the Pampoluo clan looked at the now revealed Eye of Creation in Yi-chen's hand and exclaimed in amazement. Senior brothers, I have cultivated a special divine soul skill that allows me to detect what is wrong with this droplet, Yi-chan said with a smile to the three brothers of the Pampoluo clan. At the same time, Yi-chan took a deep breath and looked at the Eye of Creation in his palm. This was the first Eye of Creation Yi-chan had obtained. It meant that Yi-chan now had a chance to escape the catastrophe of the Great Purge. Looking at the fist-sized, crystal-clear, beautiful purple-red crystal in his palm, how could Yi-chan not be emotionally stirred? How could he not be filled with immense sentiments? Yi-chan gripped the round crystal tightly. His gaze turned toward the vast ocean of the 15th floor of the Undersea Divine Palace, his eyes blazing with determination. Having obtained an Eye of Creation is not enough. There were a total of 8 Eyes of Creation in the 15th floor of the Undersea Divine Palace, and Yi-chan had only obtained one. How could he be satisfied? He wanted to acquire more Eyes of Creation to help more of his loved ones escape the Great Purge's devastation. Next, let's search for the remaining 7. After murmuring to himself, Yi-chan turned his gaze back to the three brothers of the Pampoluo clan and said with a smile, Let's go, senior brothers. Let's find the next Eye of Creation. Right, let's get moving. Haha, this is not a bad start. They laughed heartily and then, along with Yi-chan, they flitted through the waters and once again set off. As Yi-chan obtained the first Eye of Creation from the 15th floor, following Jiang Yao's acquisition of the first one on the 6th floor, it was the second Eye of Creation found in the entire Undersea Divine Palace at that time. On the 33rd floor of the Undersea Divine Palace, where the 9 female divine venerables, Mrs. He and Zhang Yao, were located in that mysterious void domain. All 9 female divine venerables nodded involuntarily. This young man is so skilled. He found the eye of creation so quickly. They were in charge of overseeing the entire purge of the lower planes, so events inside the undersea divine palace could not escape their eyes. After discovering earlier that Yi Chun had helped the rock giant divine king break the creation chessboard, they knew Yi Chun had received clues to the eye of creation on the 15th floor. At that time, the 9 female divine venerables wondered how quickly Yi Chun, with the clue, could find the eye of creation. They did not expect Yi Chun to obtain one so swiftly. The 9 female divine venerables were also full of admiration for Yi Chun. As they waited for Zhang Yao to cultivate, they became increasingly interested in observing Yi Chun. The 9 female divine venerables could see Yi Chun's actions. However, people from other realms, whether they were martial artists taken into the undersea divine palace or the life forms of exiled clans, did not possess such great divine powers. But, after Yi Chun had acquired the first eye of creation on the 15th level, just as Zhang Yao had on the 6th, a heaven-shaking voice thundered through the undersea divine palace, echoing across each level where the martial artists were. The second eye of creation has been acquired by a martial artist. In the undersea divine palace, 31 more eyes of creation remain. Upon hearing this voice, the divine king of the rock giants on the 14th level of the undersea divine palace stood up with excitement in his divine eyes. Yi Chun, the young friend, he's succeeded on the 15th level. The divine king of the rock giants had given Yi Chun a clue and defended the 14th level. Knowing that only Yi Chun had entered the 15th level, it was clear to him who had acquired the eye of creation there. With this eye of creation, young friend Yi Chun will be able to escape the killing of this great purge catastrophe. Haha, my clan has also escaped the fate of exile. It seems that I and young friend Yi Chun will have the opportunity to meet again outside the undersea divine palace. The divine king of the rock giants was extremely excited about Yi Chun's acquisition. Meanwhile, many people still struggling through the slaughter chess game on the 14th level and trapped by the 32nd tier of rock warrior guards directly changed their expressions. The elder of the Flying Spirit clan couldn't believe it and exclaimed, "The second eye of creation, that's from the 15th level. Who could have passed the 14th level slaughter chess game before me and already entered the 15th level?" For some reason, the image of the rock giant divine king watching his challenges in the slaughter chess game alongside Yi Chun suddenly surfaced in the elder's mind. An incredible thought instantly swept through the elder of the Flying Spirit clan's mind. Could it be that Yi Chun is the one who has broken into the 15th level of the undersea divine palace and obtained the second eye of creation? As the elder of the Flying Spirit clan was exclaiming, the elder of the Vermilion Bird clan, similarly trapped in another folded space within the slaughter chess game, stood up incredulously as well. He too roared out, "Who has taken the eye of creation?" The elder of the Vermilion Bird clan's heart was racing. He had reached the 14th level of the undersea divine palace without acquiring a single eye of creation. As time passed, the moment of destruction during the Great Purge drew nearer. Without finding an eye of creation, even as a 9 tribulations true god, his death was certain. At this time, he was still trapped in the slaughter chess game on the 14th level. How could the elder of the Vermilion Bird clan remain calm? How could he not seem mad with frenzy? The eyes of creation in the 15th level have also begun to be acquired, noted the ancient emperors of the Yen clan, True Phoenix, Mulan True God, and countless true gods, who were also trapped in different folded spaces of the slaughter chess game, all of whom were shaken. They involuntarily stopped their trials and looked up at the sky of the slaughter chess game. It wasn't just the 14th level that was greatly shaken. The true gods and heavenly saints in other levels of the undersea divine palace also looked up at the sky, their expressions filled with immense envy and worry. They envied the individual who had acquired the eye of creation, for they now had the means to escape the catastrophe of the Great Purge. But they were worried about their own fate, what to do with themselves. As Yi Chun acquired the second eye of creation, which was also the first eye of creation in the 15th level of the undersea divine palace, all martial artists except Zhang Yao, who was immersed in mysterious cultivation, were deeply shaken. Then, something even more shocking happened that caused the elder of the Flying Spirit clan and the elder of the Vermilion Bird clan to turn completely pale with horror and fall to the ground. Not long after, everyone heard another voice that reached the ears of all. The third eye of creation has been acquired by a martial artist. In the Undersea Divine Palace, 30 eyes of creation remain. It wasn't just that voice. Subsequently, more and more voices rang out. The fourth eye of creation has been acquired by a martial artist. The fifth eye of creation has been acquired by a martial artist. When the voice indicated that the ninth eye of creation had been acquired by a martial artist, all knew that, following the single eye of creation taken from the Undersea Divine Palace's 6th level, the 8 eyes of creation in the 15th level had all found their masters. And with these successive announcements occurring nearly on the same day, countless martial artists had the premonition that all 8 eyes of creation on the 15th level might have ended up in the hands of one person. At this moment, the 8 eyes of creation that many speculated about were indeed all in Yi Chen's hands. However, at this moment, Yi Chen, holding the 8 spectacularly divine eyes of creation, purple-red crystals, was staring in shock at the vast expanse of sea before him. It wasn't only Yi Chen. The 3 brothers of the Pampoluo clan by his side were also looking at the sea ahead with astonishment. And looking forward, they saw amidst the raging waves a colossal sea monster rising from the water, revealing its form in front of Yi Chen and the 3 brothers of the Pampoluo clan. Chapter 594 – Secret Passage. This colossal beast, over 2,000 zhang in length, exuded a god-king level aura that was unparalleled and terrifying. Even more wondrous was that, after revealing itself amidst the endless waves, the beast could not only swim through them but also instantly sprouted a pair of vast wings on its back. With a flap of its wings, it soared from the waves into the sky, expanding in size by dozens of times, covering the entire horizon with its form. This towering creature was none other than the supreme divine beast spoken of in legends and known to every martial artist since their training began, the Kuanping Divine Beast. Legends say the Kuanping Divine Beast in its original form is a massive kuan. An adult kuan can be so colossal that it spans thousands of miles, and it can transform into a divine shape, becoming a gigantic peng, so large that its size is said to be immeasurable in miles. Experience new tales on Novelbin.com. The Kuanping Divine Beast, a creature of legends, was only something martial artists of the Minor Spirit Realm and the 33 Land of the Lower Realm had heard of but never seen. Yet who would have thought that in this North Ming Divine Sea, within the Undersea Divine Palace, one could witness such a being with their own eyes. At this moment, such a legendary towering beast had suddenly appeared in the vast oceans ahead, manifesting in front of Yi Chen and the 3 brothers of the Pampoluo clan, shifting between the forms of a massive kuan and a gigantic peng. This sight completely dumbfounded Yi Chen and the 3 brothers of the Pampoluo clan. On one hand, they were astonished by the god-king level aura of this colossal creature, and on the other hand, they were shocked because, tasked with guarding the 15th level of the Undersea Divine Palace, they had never heard that there was such a legendary god-king level giant beast within this layer. This was simply beyond their imagination. Yi Chen was taken aback not only by the sight of this Kuanping Divine Beast, which despite appearing juvenile, had already reached the terrifyingly powerful god-king level, comparable even to the upper echelon of the divine kings like the stone giant Divine King, but he was also astounded by its strength. At the same time, he was surprised that the appearance of this Kuanping Divine Beast was somehow related to him. It was only after he had finally collected all 8 eyes of creation in the 15th layer of the Undersea Divine Palace that the Kuanping Divine Beast appeared. Could it be that gathering all 8 eyes of creation in this layer could also summon this Kuanping Divine Beast? What purpose does it have for appearing now? Thoughts raced through Yi Chen's mind. He had just collected the 8th eye of creation, intending to proceed to the 16th layer of the Undersea Divine Palace below, but he had not anticipated such a turn of events to occur right before his eyes. As both Yi Chen and the 3 brothers of the Pampoluo clan were still in a state of shock, the Kunping divine beast, having transformed into a gigantic pung form and with its wings outstretched concealing the sky, looked towards Yi-chan and spoke. The Kunping divine beast first looked at the three brothers of the Pampoluo clan and said, "There is no need for alarm, you exiles who guard this 15th layer. I do not belong to this layer. I am the wandering sky Kunping, a divine beast left behind by my master to roam freely within the undersea palace of the North Ming Divine Sea." Then the Kunping divine beast turned its gaze to Yi-chan and continued, "The reason I have appeared here is because this youth has assembled all 8 eyes of creation in the 15th layer, a truly rare feat that has triggered a rule left by my master from the past, prompting my appearance." Hearing that the Kunping divine beast was not restricted to the 15th layer and could roam freely throughout the entire undersea divine palace in the North Ming Divine Sea, being left there by its owner, the three brothers of the Pampoluo clan could not help but exclaim, "Predecessor, could it be that you were left in the undersea divine palace by that supreme being who exiled us here?" The Pampoluo clan's three brothers knew very well how terrifying that supreme existence was. Even a divine king would have no power to resist in its presence. Upon seeing the Kunping divine beast nod, the Pampoluo clan brothers suddenly recalled the figure of the important person who had banished their countless kin to the undersea divine palace, whom they had caught but a fleeting glimpse of back then. And at this moment, Yi-chan was also deeply shaken. He knew that the existence calling itself the Wandering Sky Kunping, this Kunping divine beast, must have a master who was none other than the supreme being who transcended the Lord level, Lord Emperor Yen. Yi-chan had not expected to encounter the shadow of Lord Emperor Yan's little ferret within the creation chessboard on the 14th level. In this 15th level, he had encountered even a Kunping divine beast left by Lord Emperor Yen. It appeared that Lord Emperor Yen had left behind many things in the Great Purge disaster of the Undersea Divine Palace, and evidently, all these things were of great use to martial artists. Within the creation chessboard, he had received the Emperor Yan's triple flash triple kill technique from the shadow of the little ferret and had gone through an incredible dream training session. Now that the Kunping divine beast had appeared, what would it bring him? Thinking how the Wandering Sky Kunping had earlier said that it revealed itself because he had gathered all 8 eyes of creation on the 15th level, thereby triggering a rule left by Lord Emperor Yen. Yi-chan could not help but inquire, "Wandering Sky Kunping Sr., for what purpose have you revealed yourself?" The Wandering Sky Kunping, whose wings fell and shrouded the entire sky, looked at Yi-chan and said, "My master set a rule long ago, that should any martial artist gather all 8 eyes of creation on the 15th level, they would be given a choice. This choice is to use my power to traverse the entire North Ming Divine Sea and the Undersea Divine Palace, to help this martial artist open up 2 secret passages. These could directly transport the martial artist either to the 21st level of the Undersea Divine Palace, which also houses the Eyes of Creation, or to the 33rd level, allowing them to find the Eyes of Creation more quickly. Of course, there is also the choice not to use my assistance to open the passages, and instead continue fighting through each level on one's own. Young lad, you are the one who has gathered all 8 Eyes of Creation on the 15th level. Now the choice is yours to make." Boom! The words of the Wandering Sky Kunping left Yi-chan utterly astonished. Yi-chan had already learned from God King Heimei that the distribution of the 33 Eyes of Creation was such that there was 1 on the 6th level, 8 on the 15th level, 10 on the 21st level, and 14 in the deepest 33rd level. Yi-chan had not expected that by acquiring all the Eyes of Creation on the 15th level, he would have the chance to use the pathways opened by the Wandering Sky Kunping to go directly to either the 21st or 33rd level. What an immense opportunity it was! After all, whether advancing from the 15th level to the 21st or to the 33rd, he would have to face numerous dangerous levels. Even with the Emperor Yan's triple flash triple kill, there was no absolute assurance he would succeed in breaking through. Now, the possibility of using these secret passages to reach these 2 levels could certainly save Yi-chan a great deal of effort. Moreover, the other levels didn't contain any Eyes of Creation, and except for the necessity to search for the Eye of the Divine Sea in the final 3 levels, there was not much point in entering the other levels. Yi-chun would not miss this chance to traverse directly through the passages. However, should he go directly to the 21st level or to the 33rd? Yi-chun hesitated. Chapter 595 Divine King Yobwa. Seeing Yi-chun in deep thought about making a choice, the three siblings of the Pempoluo clan beside him quieted down, not disturbing Yi-chun's contemplation. After all, this concerned Yi-chun's upcoming adventures in the Undersea Divine Palace. It wouldn't be right for them to interject. The divine beast Wandering Sky Kuanping, above in the sky, did not urge him either, just quietly watching Yi-chun, waiting for his decision. After pondering for dozens of seconds, Yi-chun suddenly raised his head to look at the Wandering Sky Kuanping and asked, "Senior, I have a question. If I were to collect the 20th Eye of Creation, would there be new opportunities?" Having encountered the chance to travel directly through a secret pathway across the 33 layers of the Undersea Divine Palace after collecting 8 Eyes of Creation on the 15th layer, Yi-chun naturally wanted to inquire about the situation on the 21st layer. Wandering Sky Kuanping responded directly, "Of course there will be new opportunities. As far as I know, when the Master left behind the Eyes of Creation and Eyes of the Divine Sea, many corresponding opportunities were arranged. The Eye of the Divine Sea goes without saying. Possessing this item, not only can all martial artists escape the annihilation of the Great Cleansing Calamity, but there will also be incredible benefits for the martial artist who obtains this treasure. While the Eye of Creation is not as powerful as the Eye of the Divine Sea, as long as you can obtain all the Eyes of Creation on a certain layer, there are also corresponding opportunities and benefits. The 6th layer, although there is only one Eye of Creation, to the martial artist who obtains this first Eye of Creation, my master will bestow astonishing fortune. He or she will have a better chance than others to gain unexpected rewards when adventuring through the rest of the Undersea Divine Palace." Wandering Sky Kuanping first spoke of the benefits of the Eye of Creation on the 6th layer. Hearing this, Yi-chun nodded, thinking to himself, the 6th layer, with only one Eye of Creation, is the first of the entire 33 Eyes of Creation. The person who obtains it receives astonishing fortune. I wonder who has obtained the first Eye of Creation. What Yi-chun didn't know was that the one who had procured the first Eye of Creation was Zhang Yao, whom he had been worried about and searching for. And Zhang Yao, even though she did not proceed to other layers of the Undersea Divine Palace to garner unexpected rewards with her astonishing fortune, had caught the attention of the 9 female divine venerables and Mrs. He of the Sovereign Realm from the Feathered Spirit clan. She was directly transported to a mysterious place on the 33rd layer. This unexpected reward was indeed massive. After finishing about the opportunities related to the Eye of Creation on the 6th layer, Wandering Sky Kuanping continued to Yi-chun. The 15th layer is the second one with the Eyes of Creation. You already know the benefits of obtaining all the Eyes of Creation here, which is to directly use the secret pathway to reach the remaining 2 layers that have the Eyes of Creation. This opportunity, while seeming not very clear in benefits, is actually very useful. It gives you a greater chance than others to obtain the Eyes of Creation on the subsequent layers ahead of time and without the risk of adventuring through them. Yi-chun nodded in agreement. As for the 10 Eyes of Creation on the 21st layer, if obtained by the same person, as far as I know, he might directly gain some clues about the Eye of the Divine Sea. Wandering Sky Kuanping finally mentioned the benefit of obtaining all the Eyes of Creation on the 21st layer. At this, Yi-chun's heart suddenly stirred. Clues to the Eye of the Divine Sea. To know that even though he now had 8 Eyes of Creation, it wasn't enough to save all the people he wanted to from the annihilation of the Great Cleansing Calamity. People like Zhang Yao, like the true god of the Phoenix Herding Wind, like the Heavenly Saint True Gods from the Divine Phoenix clan, and Heavenly Saint Long Xian from the southern territory of the barbaric wilderness continent. 8 Eyes of Creation were clearly not enough. Even having all 33 Eyes of Creation wouldn't be enough. But the Eye of the Divine Sea could save everyone from the Great Cleansing Calamity and even offer additional benefits. Who wouldn't want the most precious thing in the entire Undersea Divine Palace? Earlier, through God King Hei Mei, Yi-chun and the others knew that the Eye of the Divine Sea was within the last 3 layers of the Undersea Divine Palace. If one could obtain all the eyes of creation on the 21st layer and gain some clues, it might even be possible to pinpoint the exact location of the Eye of the Divine Sea. With this thought, Yi Chun found himself very interested in competing for all the eyes of creation on the 21st layer. The 21st layer is the one with clues to the Eye of the Divine Sea. But on the last layer with eyes of creation, the 33rd layer, if someone can obtain all 14 eyes of creation inside, it is said that they will gain significant personal benefits in their martial arts cultivation. Exactly what it is, I do not know, but it's definitely an incredibly precious benefit. Finally, Wandering Sky Kunping added to Yi Chun. Of course, it's not just the 4 levels where obtaining all the eyes of creation will be greatly beneficial. If someone could collect all 33 eyes of creation from all 4 layers, they would receive the ultimate benefit of the Eye of Creation. It is said they could directly obtain something left by my master in the Undersea Divine Palace. Stay connected through Novelbin. Calm. Boom! These final words of the Wandering Sky Kunping made Yi Chen's mind explode. His master, that's Lord Emperor Yen. Something Lord Emperor Yen left in the Undersea Divine Palace? Without thinking, one knew it would be an extraordinarily precious item. However, among the shock, Yi Chun calmed down instantly. To collect all 33 eyes of creation was clearly impossible for him. After all, the Eye of Creation from the 6th layer had already been taken by someone else. Alright, I've told you everything about the Eye of Creation. So, what have you decided? The Wandering Sky Kunping looked at Yi Chun and asked aloud. Yi Chun took a deep breath and said slowly, I choose to go to the 21st layer. His decision to do so was after much contemplation. After all, if he were lucky enough to obtain all the eyes of creation in the 21st layer, he would acquire clues about the Eye of the Divine Sea. By that time, venturing further down to the last 3 layers in search of the Eye of the Divine Sea would be much easier. Furthermore, the 21st layer was obviously a bit safer than the 33rd layer. Heading there first allowed for a buffering process, making the journey to the 33rd layer somewhat easier afterward. If he were to head to the 33rd layer first, then it would be much more troublesome to return to the 21st layer, and he might miss out on the eyes of creation there. After all, he wasn't the only one looking for the eyes of creation in the Undersea Divine Palace. Others were seeking them as well. Even though many were still trapped in the 14th layer's slaughter chess game, what if they reached the 21st layer while he was at the 33rd and found the eyes of creation first? Then Yi Chun would have missed numerous opportunities. Having made his decision, Yi Chun felt much more at ease. His thoughts shifted as he turned to the Wandering Sky Kunping with a smile and asked, Senior, if I go directly to the 21st layer, will I miss a lot of opportunities on the other layers? After all, Yi Chun had already obtained the opportunity to cultivate with the Void Celestial Gourd on the 11th layer and had the rare opportunity to experience dreamlike cultivation in the Creation chessboard on the 14th layer. Although he had made his decision and his choice had been made, Yi Chun was still curious about the affairs of the other layers. The Wandering Sky Kunping glanced at Yi Chun and, quite unusually, a hint of a smile appeared on his face. The items on the other layers, while present, are not considered precious. Compared to the opportunities provided by the eyes of creation and the Eye of the Divine Sea later on, they are far inferior. Moreover, venturing there might not get you the items, but might cost you your life instead. Young lad, there are so many treasures in the world, you don't have to grasp every one of them in your hands. Yi Chun nodded and replied with a smile, Senior's lesson is well received. Time was limited, and since he had chosen to go directly to the 21st layer, Yi Chun was certainly not going to regret it. He was only at the mid-stage of the Heavenly Saint realm, and even with countless treasures, his actual combat strength was only at the level of a true god of the 7th calamity. Even if he fought with all his might without using the ultimate move Emperor Yan's triple flash triple kill, he could at best perform at the combat level of an ordinary true god of the 8th calamity. Several true gods of the 9th calamity were still trapped on the 14th layer, so of course, Yi Chun would not be complacent. After all, whether it was the realm of the Void Celestial Gourd or the Creation chessboard, Yi-chan was able to seize the opportunities presented only by using a heavenly vessel to fly and through arduous cultivation of various divine arts, as well as his cultivation of the 9 volumes of formations. Yi-chan didn't dare to assure himself that he would always be so lucky to encounter problems he could solve. If he were to get trapped on a particular layer, unable to descend, or if he had to waste the Emperor Yan's triple flash triple kill move prematurely, then the loss would outweigh the gain. Alright, since you've made up your mind, I'll take you to the 21st layer now, the Wandering Sky Kuenping said directly to Yi-chan. Senior, please wait a moment. Yi-chan turned around to bid farewell to the 3 brothers of the Pampoluo clan who were by his side. Although he had spent only a short time with the 3 brothers, the Pampoluo clan had helped Yi-chan a lot in the search for the 8 eyes of creation. Naturally, he wanted to say a proper goodbye to them before leaving. The 3 brothers of the Pampoluo clan were all smiling at Yi-chan and said, Friend Yi-chan, now that you have obtained the 8 eyes of creation, you have secured a chance to save your life. When moving on further, be careful above all else. Yi-chan nodded, committing these words to heart. Let's go. Once Yi-chan had said all that needed to be said and was ready, the Wandering Sky Kuenping swept its heavenly spanning wings with a mighty swoosh. In the sky, endless waters stirred. The boundless waters surged in the void, unfolding into a deep blue pathway that extended forward, leading into a realm of bright red light. With a wave from the 3 brothers of the Pampoluo clan, Yi-chan followed the Wandering Sky Kuenping onto this deep blue path and finally stepped into the bright red light, ultimately vanishing completely from the 15th layer. As Yi-chan disappeared from the 15th layer, taking a secret path activated by the Wandering Sky Kuenping to head toward the 21st layer of the Undersea Divine Palace. In the 33rd layer of the Undersea Divine Palace, the 9 great female divine venerables who had been watching Yi-chan sighed softly. The young lad has gone to the 21st layer. The 21st layer is not a simple one, and the guardian Yobwa of that layer seems to have gained something in the last great trial of the expelled clans, granting him more freedom. If he goes mad, I'm afraid the warriors are in for some bad luck. However, this young lad has the Emperor Yan's triple flash triple kill life-saving method from the creation chessboard, which should help him cope to some degree. The question is whether he will use it directly on the 21st layer or not. Suffice to say, Yi-chan couldn't hear the words of the 9 great female divine venerables on the 33rd layer. When Yi-chan flew into the secret pathway opened by the Wandering Sky Kuenping, entering into that bright red light, he felt the world spinning in transport for a moment. Then he emerged in a new world. Right then, a voice thunderously echoed in his ears. Welcome, young lad. Welcome to the 21st layer of the Undersea Divine Palace. I am the guardian of the 21st layer, the God King Yobwa. You may address me as Lord Yobwa. Chapter 596-. The Mad Divine King. Experience exclusive tales on novelbin.com. Yi-chan looked up and saw that the 21st layer of the Undersea Divine Palace that he had just entered was a yellow-brown and somewhat desolate world. There stood a disheveled old man, wearing an ancient vestment robe stained with numerous wine spots, holding a shabby wine gourd, and speaking to him. God King Yobwa, is it you? Yi-chan sized up the old man. This unkempt old man was actually an upper-tier divine king. Yi-chan had not expected to encounter only upper-tier divine kings in the Undersea Divine Palace. However, these divine kings were all different from one another. The first divine king Yi-chan had encountered, God King Heimei, was elegantly cold and noble. The second divine king, the giant from the Rock People tribe, was full of worry and concern for his tribe's escape from exile. And the upper-tier divine beast Wandering Sky Kuenping, that had just sent Yi-chan to the 21st layer of the Undersea Divine Palace, was mysterious and terrifying. Now, this God King Yobwa gave Yi-chan the impression that the disheveled divine king had a somewhat mad and crazy demeanor. At the moment, God King Yobwa was continuously eyeing Yi-chan as if he were looking at an inconceivable treasure. Being stared at by this scruffy old man made Yi-chan feel a bit uncomfortable. Eventually, Yi-chan couldn't help but speak out. Lord Yobwa, why do you look at me so strangely? Isn't it odd, young boy? Said God King Yobwa, his eyes fixed on Yi-chan, muttering, "I never expected that the first martial artist to break into the 21st layer I'm guarding would be a young boy at the mid-stage of Heavenly Saint. To be the first one to come here, you must be quite extraordinary." Yi-chan had been sent directly to the 21st layer by the Wandering Sky Kuanping. So God King Yobua was unaware of Yi-chan's experiences in the other layers. The only layers he could sense were the closest ones, the 20th and 22nd, and he hadn't seen Yi-chan there. Thus, he was very curious about how Yi-chan, at the mid-stage of Heavenly Saint, could have reached the 21st layer. Yet Yi-chan was not about to divulge all of his secrets to this seemingly mad God King Yobua. Hearing his words, Yi-chan just smiled and said, "Lord Yobua, now that I have arrived at the 21st layer, I wonder if you are aware of the Eye of Creation here. If you would kindly inform Yi-chan, I would be deeply grateful to you." Finding the Eye of Creation in the 21st layer was Yi-chan's most important task, and naturally it was his main concern. God King Yobua didn't mind that Yi-chan had changed the subject. Upon hearing Yi-chan's words, he picked up the old wine gourd in his hand, took a long drink, let out a long sigh, and then said, "This 21st layer, since I'm guarding it, doesn't require the presence of other exiled life-form tribes, so I'm certainly the most knowledgeable about the situation here. Young boy, are you looking for the 10 eyes of creation in the 21st layer? Actually, there's no need to search. These eyes of creation are in my possession." Towards the end, God King Yobua squeezed his eye at Yi-chan with a smug look. "They're in your hands, Lord Yobua?" Yi-chan was taken aback. Yi-chan thought that the 10 eye of creations in the 21st layer would be scattered like those in the 15th layer. He never expected that God King Yobua would claim to have all the eye of creations in his possession. Yi-chan found it somewhat hard to believe. Seeing Yi-chan's skeptical expression, God King Yobua gave a slight smile, opened his mouth to exhale, and a burst of alcohol fumes sprayed into the void, forming a light screen in the air. On the screen, Yi-chan could see another 10 eye of creations, identical to those he had earlier acquired on the 15th layer, gathered together in a large hall, each emitting a mystical purple-red glow. Seeing these 10 eye of creations caused Yi-chan's breathing to tighten. Once he obtained these 10 eye of creations, he would earn 10 more chances to escape the great cleansing cataclysm. More precious still, the divine beast Wandering Sky Kuanping had mentioned that gathering together the 10 eye of creations within the 21st layer would yield a clue to the Eye of the Divine Sea. Of course, Yi-chan coveted the clue to the Eye of the Divine Sea. Unfortunately, Yi-chan did not know where the hall containing the 10 eye of creations was located. Otherwise, he would have flown there directly to seize them. Noticing Yi-chan's quickened breath upon seeing the Eye of Creations on the light screen, God King Yobua chuckled and made a move that took Yi-chan by surprise. He slapped his worn vestment robe at the waist, and from one of its patterns, a palm-sized miniature hall-shaped magical treasure directly flew out. This miniature hall-shaped magical treasure instantly began to enlarge in the wind with a whoosh, 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 and eventually turned into a massive hall several dozen feet high, landing right in front of Yi-chan. Could it be that the hall containing the 10 eye of creations of the 21st layer is this very one? Are the 10 eye of creations inside this hall? The thought crossed Yi-chan's mind as he watched the large magical hall land before him. At that moment, as if discerning Yi-chan's guess, God King Yobua straightforwardly said, "Young lad, your guess is correct. The 10 eye of creations of the 21st layer are indeed inside this Yubao hall. However, this Yubao hall is an extremely fine heavenly magical artifact, and without the specific incantations, even a divine king wouldn't be able to enter. If you want to search for the Eye of Creation inside now, you'll have to wait a bit longer." Yi-chan was somewhat confounded by the unpredictable actions of the slightly mad God King Yobua. He hadn't expected that all 10 eye of creations would be in this man's hands, let alone that this divine king would now produce the hall containing them so openly before him. Yet he was now being told that to enter the Yubao hall, to obtain the Eye of Creation, he had to wait. Wait for what? Yi-chan asked God King Yobua, puzzled. God King Yobua chuckled and replied, "Naturally, We're waiting for the other intruders. After all, the eye of creation cannot possibly be given to just you alone to take away. Wait for others as well. Yi Chun had a hunch that this seemingly eccentric divine king wouldn't be thinking so simply. Just as Yi Chun was considering whether to bring out the Emperor Yan's triple flash triple kill technique to threaten God King Yobwa into handing over the eye of creation, weighing whether such action would provoke this slightly insane divine king and potentially introduce other complications to obtaining the eye of creation, God King Yobwa then added to Yi Chun, "However, young lad, you needn't be in a hurry. Of course, I will not wait forever for the other martial artists. I'll give those martial artists 4 months of time. If they don't arrive here within 4 months, and you're the only one on this 21st layer, then these 10 Eye of Creation will all belong to you." Chapter 597 Changes and Reunion. For months, Yi Chun was half skeptical about what God King Yobwa had said. However, if it was indeed a matter of 4 months, he could wait a bit longer. The Great Cleansing Calamity gave a total of 1 year to find the Eye of Creation and the Eye of the Divine Sea. In rushing through the previous levels and the 1 month he spent cultivating in the Void Celestial Gourd, where more than 8 years had passed due to the discrepancy in the flow of time, making it only a month outside, plus the 24 days spent challenging the creation chessboard, Yi Chun had used only about 3 months to arrive at this 21st level. There were still 9 months left for the treasure hunt. If waiting here for another 4 months would give him the chance to obtain 10 Eyes of Creation, Yi Chun was certainly willing to wait. After all, even though he possessed Emperor Yan's triple flash triple kill, he could kill God King Yobwa if needed. But firstly, he had no grudge against God King Yobwa and therefore would not attack, and secondly, even if he killed God King Yobwa, he was not certain he could break into the Yubao Hall and take out the Eyes of Creation. Aware of the strength of heaven-reaching divine artifacts, Yi Chun knew their power well, owning a heaven-reaching divine vessel himself. Furthermore, with many more levels ahead, Emperor Yan's triple flash triple kill had only 3 chances to kill, and unless facing a deadly foe, Yi Chun certainly wouldn't use it lightly. Then I'll wait here for 4 months. In the end, Yi Chun made his decision. These 4 months will give me a good opportunity to cultivate further and enhance my strength, ensuring a greater chance of success in navigating the deeper levels of the Undersea Divine Palace. After emerging from the creation chessboard, Yi Chun had gone directly to the 15th level and then to this 21st level. Although he had cultivated in his dreams within the creation chessboard, he had gained much and hadn't had the chance to properly meditate and comprehend his gains. Now that God King Yobwa had requested a 4-month wait, it gave Yi Chun a chance to cultivate. All right, since Lord Yobwa has set the rules for treasure hunting on this level, I will comply and wait another 4 months, Yi Chun said to God King Yobwa with a light chuckle in the end. At the same time, Yi Chun smiled at God King Yobwa and asked, "However, Lord Yobwa, during this time, may I look around the 21st level as I wish?" Although God King Yobwa claimed to have the Eye of Creation in his possession and had displayed it on the screen, even producing a palace, Yi Chun obviously wouldn't just take his word for it without seeing the Eye of Creation for himself. Find exclusive stories on Novelbin.com. He also wanted to take this time to search around. If the 21st level truly lacked other life forms bent on slaughter, as God King Yobwa claimed, then searching wouldn't take too long. Hearing Yi Chun's words, God King Yobwa seemed to see through his intentions. He chuckled, saying, "You young lad, want to search for the Eyes of Creation yourself, huh? Well, since you've agreed to wait here for 4 months, I won't stop you from going wherever you want. Of course, after 4 months, you must return punctually to this place. If someone else arrives and enters the Yubao Hall to take the Eye of Creation and you're too late to return, don't blame me for not giving you a chance." I won't. I'll just wander around a bit and then come back here," Yi Chun assured God King Yobwa with a smile. God King Yobwa nodded noncommittally. "All right, I've said what needed to be said. Little young man, plan your actions on this 21st level as you please. I won't interfere." After speaking, the frenzied God King Yobwa simply gathered the Yubao Hall from the ground and left directly, vanishing from sight. Seeing God King Yobwa disappear, Yi Chun stood still for a while, as if contemplating something, and then, with a slight smile, he too flew into the void. 3 days later, Yi Chun returned to that piece of land. It seems, indeed as God King Yobwa said, the eye of creation is in his hands. A resigned Yi Chun murmured as he descended. Over these 3 days, Yi Chun had virtually turned the 21st level upside down. He had even taken out the destruction eye skills and the helpful divine artifact for treasure hunting, the ice treasure divine ring. And yet, there was utterly no trace of the eye of creation in this world. It wasn't just the eye of creation. There were no other demons or even humans in this world, just a desolate expanse of yellow and brown earth. In the end, the only lead to the eye of creation pointed back to God King Yobwa. So it is, then I can only wait for 4 months. I wonder if the others will be able to get through the previous challenges and reach this 21st level in that time. Yi Chun mused to himself. Yi Chun remembered that when he left the 14th floor, the remaining people were still trapped within it, and he didn't know whether they could pass the slaughter chess game trial in these 4 months. The slaughter chess game, the rock giant God King predecessor once said that the difficulty would diminish over time. Perhaps they will eventually break free from the slaughter chess game. But aside from the slaughter chess game, there are numerous other levels filled with countless dangers. I'm afraid that after these 4 months, there won't be many who could reach this 21st floor. Thinking of this, Yi Chun thought of Zhang Yao. The rock giant God King predecessor had sensed Zhang Yao's movements, saying she was in the levels far below, most likely after the 30th level. How did she get to such deep levels? Below the 30th level, once I resolve the matters on this 21st floor, I must quickly head down to check. While Yi Chun was searching for the Eye of Creation on the 21st floor, he also found the passage leading to the 22nd floor. However, the passage was sealed at the moment, and he was unable to go down. There was also a passage leading to the higher levels, but Yi Chun lacked the energy to explore them. After all, there was no Eye of Creation on the higher levels. Going there would be a waste of time and could be dangerous. Moreover, missing the 4-month deadline would be an even greater loss. After some contemplation, Yi Chun retreated into the heaven-reaching divine artifact flying boat on the 21st floor and began to cultivate. For months passed in the blink of an eye. Many things happened during these 4 months that Yi Chun knew nothing about. Yi Chun didn't know that within the Undersea Divine Palace's 14th floor, 3 ninth tribulation true gods had broken through and ventured into further levels. Among them, an ancient emperor of the Yen clan even encountered an earth-shattering opportunity on the 18th level and managed to break through to the God King realm in spite of already being a 9th tribulation true god. This caused the Flying Spirit clan's elder leader and the Vermilion Bird clan's elder leader, who had battled their way to the 18th floor with him, to be filled with extreme envy and jealousy. For the warriors of the Minor Spirit realm and the 33 continents, breaking through to the God King realm meant escaping the great cleansing catastrophe. Once the ancient emperor of the Yen clan made it to the God King realm, he was directly transported out of the northern mysterious divine sea, not even requiring the rescue chance from the Eye of Creation and Eye of the Divine Sea. Yi Chun also didn't know that, just a month into these 4 months, Zhang Yao in the Undersea Divine Palace's 33rd level, within the mysterious realm, had completed the Nirvana 9 transformations cultivation and successfully emerged from the sealed cave dwelling. In the end, she was completely surrounded by Mrs. He and the 9 goddesses, who were all overwhelmingly excited, and began to instruct her for a second time. Nor did Yi Chun know that Zhang Yao had even learned from Mrs. He and the 9 goddesses that he had obtained 8 eyes of creation and had mastered the Emperor Yan's triple flash triple kill. During these 4 months, countless things happened outside, while Yi Chun was completely immersed in his cultivation. These 4 months, without the chance for accelerated time flow in cultivation, were incredibly brief. Yet these 4 months brought great gains to Yi Chun, especially in the realm of Qi cultivation. Ever since he incarnated as a feathered bird in that dream realm and cultivated all the way to an upper-tier God King realm, Yi Chun had a clear understanding of how to break through the boundaries. Yi Chun even learned the method to break through from the middle to the late stage of the Heavenly Saint realm. To break through from the middle to the late stage of the Heavenly Saint realm One must allow the qi within the body and the power of the spatial law to continuously grow strong enough to begin nurturing the soul, allowing the soul to integrate with the spatial law to the extent that the soul can control the spatial law outside of the body. Now, Yi Chun is crystal clear on how to integrate his soul with the spatial law, controlling it with his soul. What he lacked was building his inner qi and the power of the spatial law to the point of sensing and charging at the bottleneck of the late heavenly saint stage. During these 4 months of arduous cultivation, Yi Chun felt that as the spatial vortex within him continued to expand, his qi grew more vast, bringing him ever closer to the late heavenly saint stage. The breakthrough to the late heavenly saint stage was no longer distant for Yi Chun. After 4 months of cultivation, Yi Chun flew out from the heaven-reaching divine artifact flying boat. Then he saw 3 people appear before him. Among these 3 people, the first was all too familiar to Yi Chun, none other than God King Yobwa. At that moment, seeing Yi Chun emerge from the heaven-reaching divine artifact flying boat, God King Yobwa also grinned at him, saying, "Little lad, no wonder you were the first to reach this 21st level. You have quite a treasure. A heaven-reaching divine artifact flying boat. Huh? It seems your fortunes are indeed profound." Hearing God King Yobwa's words, Yi Chun gave a smile and put away the heaven-reaching divine artifact flying boat. When Yi Chun looked at the other 2 people, however, his eyes narrowed. He certainly recognized these 2, as they were the elderly clan leaders of the Flying Spirit clan and the Vermilion Bird clan. Yi Chun hadn't expected that, after 4 months, these 2 would have successfully made it here. Right now, as the Flying Spirit clan's elder leader and the Vermilion Bird clan's elder leader looked at Yi Chun emerging from the heaven-reaching divine artifact flying boat, their eyes seemed to shoot flames. Chapter 598-. Only one survives. The elder chieftains of the Flying Spirit clan and the Vermilion Bird clan had gone through trials and tribulations, with several of their clan's ancient treasures damaged and they themselves nearly losing their lives before they made it to the 21st level. To their surprise, they found Yi Chun's heaven-reaching divine artifact flying boat just moored inside. This nearly made the 2 of them cough up blood in frustration. They immediately thought that it was clear the Eye of Creation previously in the 15th layer had been obtained by Yi Chun. After all, the 2 of them had broken through the 14th layer together with the Elder Emperor of the Yen clan and entered the 15th layer where the 3 of them had combined forces to surpass the checkpoint set by the Pampoluo clan and ventured further. And after reaching the 21st layer, they even heard from God King Yobwa that only Yi Chun had arrived at the 21st layer before them. This obviously meant that the one who had ventured through the 15th layer before them was none other than Yi Chun alone. It was Yi Chun who had taken the 8 eyes of creation from the 15th layer, while they were still trapped in the murderous chess game. They did not obtain the soul eye of creation in the 6th layer, and Yi Chun had snatched the 8 eyes of creation in the 15th layer. Even the Elder Emperor of the Yen clan with them had achieved an earth-shattering harvest, breaking through directly to the God King realm, whereas they ended up with nothing. Of course, this made the 2 elder chieftains feel like spitting blood. If it weren't for their last-minute rush to the 21st layer, where they heard from God King Yobwa that they nearly missed the opportunity to contend for the eyes of creation, nearly letting all of the 21st layer's eyes of creation fall into Yi Chun's hands. And if God King Yobwa weren't there, they would have even been unable to restrain their urge to attack Yi Chun and seize the 8 eyes of creation on him. Looking at the hostile gazes of the 2 elder chieftains from the Flying Spirit clan and the Vermilion Bird clan, Yi Chun simply ignored them. After experiencing countless events, even seeing many god kings and hearing tales of Lord Emperor Yan's feats beyond the esteemed Lord Realm, these 2 old fellows no longer mattered to him. Even now, if Yi Chun wished to slay the 2, with Emperor Yan's triple flash triple kill, it would be exceedingly easy. However, at this moment, Yi Chun was contemplating whether to slay them right now or not. Although he would inevitably kill these 2 sooner or later, to avenge the Divine Phoenix clan, it would be a pity to waste Emperor Yan's triple flash triple kill on these 2 at this time. Let's see if I prevent these 2 from obtaining the Eye of Creation. They will also die in the Great Purge's cataclysmic slaughter, sparing me the use of my Emperor Yan's triple flash triple kill. Of course, if they dare to make a move against me, then there's also no need for courtesy. I'll just directly execute the two of them and completely resolve these culprits that brought calamity to the Divine Phoenix clan. Yi Chun made up his mind. Seeing that Yi Chun was ignoring their presence, the elder chieftains of the Flying Spirit clan and the Vermilion Bird clan felt an intense annoyance in their hearts. They had never been so dismissed by someone at the mid-stage of Heaven Saint. Moreover, this mid-stage Heaven Saint had a deep-seated grudge against them. It's unfathomable how this kid ran into such dog's hit luck, managing to arrive at the 21st layer faster than us and snatching away the eyes of creation from the 15th layer. It's very possible that he relied on that heaven-reaching divine artifact flying boat. However, his ally, the female 9 Tribulation's true god, was unable to enter the Undersea Divine Palace, and the elder emperor of the Yen clan has also been expelled from the palace. Now, within the entire Undersea Divine Palace, the most powerful warriors are the two of us. No matter how powerful this kid is, he absolutely cannot withstand the joint attack from both of us. Killing him, this time, we absolutely can't let him slip away again. The elder chieftains of the Flying Spirit clan and the Vermilion Bird clan communicated telepathically, sealing their intent to kill Yi Chun. Upon seeing the discordant expressions between Yi Chun and the two true gods, God King Yobwa, who was beside them, raised his eyebrows and finally spoke up. "It seems like you all know each other? Hee, if you know each other, that's perfect. Now, since the time has come, and only the three of you have arrived here, I'm going to announce the rules for contending for the 10 eyes of creation within this 21st layer." When God King Yobwa mentioned the 10 eyes of creation, Yi Chun and the two elder chieftains looked towards him. Despite their grudges, the eyes of creation were more important. After all, they related to 10 opportunities to escape the cataclysmic purge. Continue reading at Novel Bin. Calm. Seeing that all three had turned their attention to him, God King Yobwa continued. As I've already told you, the eyes of creation are placed within the Yubao Hall. To obtain the 10 eyes of creation is quite simple. You need to enter the Yubao Hall and fight to the death. In the end, only one of you should be left alive. Whoever survives will own the 10 eyes of creation within the Yubao Hall. How about it? This method isn't bad, right? Initially, I was hoping for more people to join the scramble and witness a grand melee to see who the strongest among them would be. Unexpectedly, it's only the three of you. However, it's still good. 2 9 Tribulation's true gods and one somewhat surprisingly talented young genius. Now, let's watch the thrilling show among the three of you. God King Yobwa laughed proudly as he spoke. The three were to fight to the death inside Yubao Hall, and only one survivor could claim all 10 eyes of creation. Upon hearing God King Yobwa announce the rules of the treasure hunt, the expressions of the 4 individuals from different realms all changed. Chapter 599. The first ones to have their expressions drastically change were the elders of the Flying Spirit clan and the Vermilion Bird clan. Although both harbored intentions of killing Yi Chun, if only one person could truly survive, it meant that they would have to fight each other to the death. Among them, only one could live on. This naturally made their moods change abruptly. Even the way they looked at each other was now filled with a trace of hostility and caution. To defy the decree of God King Yobwa was something they knew was likely impossible. Since God King Yobwa dared to establish this rule, it was clear he wouldn't let them escape it easily. The two of them even had the thought that perhaps, by killing Yi Chun and their opponent, they could obtain all of the Eye of Creation and gain even greater benefits. For a moment, various thoughts flickered through their minds. At this time, Yi Chun, upon hearing this rule, also had his expression change. In his heart, he cursed, "This God King Yobwa seems crazy and indeed is a madman. Actually coming up with the idea of letting us fight to the death over a treasure and leaving only one survivor." Despite cursing internally, Yi Chun was not afraid if it truly came down to a fight with the elders of the Flying Spirit clan and the Vermilion Bird clan. He was merely considering whether or not to take action. And the last one to have her expression greatly change was Zhang Yao, who was in the mysterious location on the 33rd level of the Undersea Divine Palace. Looking towards this mysterious area, one could see that in front of Zhang Yao, a screen of light was erected, vividly displaying the situation of the 21st level of the Undersea Divine Palace. Next to Zhang Yao, the 9 female divine venerables, along with Mrs. He, were also watching this screen of light. At the moment when Zhang Yao's expression changed dramatically, Mrs. He shook her head and said, "This Yobwa, during the last great trial of the banished clans, obtained the opportunity to guard the 21st level and also received the key of ethereal spirit, giving him the authority to arrange the distribution of the 10 eyes of creation. Discover more stories at novelbin.com. I never imagined that he would decide to allocate them in such a manner. It seems, despite the endless years passing, while many god kings can remain calm, there are still those who become crazed and maddened. Mrs. He, being a sovereign realm powerhouse, and also responsible for overseeing the great cleansing calamities of countless lower planes, had witnessed numerous life and death scenarios and was above the affairs of the world, dispassionately judging God King Yobwa's actions. Grandma! Zhang Yao, however, couldn't be indifferent at the moment. This matter pertained to Yichun, and she was worried about his safety. Yichun won't be in danger, right? Even though Zhang Yao also wanted to deal with that calamitous elder of the Flying Spirit clan and the elder of the Vermilion Bird clan who had brought disaster upon the Divine Phoenix clan, at this moment, with 2 Ninth Tribulation true gods in front of Yichun, her biggest worry was his safety. Even knowing that Yichun had the technique, Emperor Yan's triple flash triple kill, Zhang Yao was still anxious. After all, it's better to be safe than sorry, and if anything were to happen to Yichun, she simply could not bear it. Seeing Zhang Yao's anxious appearance, Mrs. He couldn't help but sigh with a hint of helplessness. The girl in front of her had managed, in just over 2 months, to successfully cultivate the extremely difficult Nirvana 9 transformations of the Feathered Spirit clan, passing their test. Coupled with Zhang Yao's serene and gentle disposition, she had become extremely dear to both Mrs. He and the 9 female divine venerables. After Zhang Yao completed the Nirvana 9 transformations, for the past 3 months, they had been teaching her the foundation parts of a new technique that they had summarized over millions of years. The more they taught her, the more they grew fond of and cherished Zhang Yao. During this time, they had also been discussing with Zhang Yao about taking her as an apprentice, even mentioning taking her to the 10,000 Beasts domain to train her intensively. But Zhang Yao had never agreed. Even after they knew of Zhang Yao's Divine Phoenix clan's hatred, they had already promised that once this mission entrusted by Lord Emperor Yan was completed and their freedom regained, they would personally take action to help Zhang Yao avenge the blood feud against the Flying Spirit clan and the Vermilion Bird clan, and to help her find her clansmen taken by the Black Crow God King. Zhang Yao had only agreed to practice with them, yet she was still unwilling to go to the 10,000 Beasts domain with them. Mrs. He knew that what Zhang Yao was most concerned about and couldn't let go of was Yichun, who was currently on the 21st level. It was this young man that made her unwilling to leave. Now, seeing Zhang Yao's extremely worried expression for Yichun, Mrs. He sighed and said to Zhang Yao, "Yaoer, although we are the overseers of the great cleansing calamity, once we have chosen the wardens for each level, we cannot meddle in it at will. However, rest assured that Yichun, having the Emperor Yan's triple flash triple kill, will surely be able to face this trial and nothing will go wrong. If he were truly in mortal danger." Mrs. He shook her head finally. "Then we would violate Lord Emperor Yan's rule for once and step in to save the young man. Intervening to save someone on the brink of death is different from directly bringing the perfectly safe Zhang Yao to the 33rd level. It is an act that interferes with the rules of new and old succession in the great cleansing calamity. According to Lord Emperor Yan's rules, such a transgression would result in their being trapped in the great cleansing calamity 3 more times as punishment. However, although they had not known Zhang Yao for long, they had grown very fond of the young girl and were unwilling to see her distressed. Hence they still spoke these words. Mrs. He's words brought a tear to Zhang Yao's eyes. During this time with Mrs. He and the 9 female divine venerables, Zhang Yao could feel that they all cared for her very, very much. It was exactly because they genuinely cherished her that they did not force her, pressuring her to become an apprentice and take her to the 10,000 Beasts domain. Otherwise, with their strength, doing so would have been incredibly easy. Zhang Yao could feel this concern. She wanted to practice with them and make herself even stronger. But to go to another star domain and be far from Yichun, she simply could not bear it. Bring Yi Chun along? Zhang Yao had mentioned it before, but the Feathered Spirit clan only took female disciples and could not bring Yi Chun for instruction. Moreover, when it came to matters involving Yi Chun, Zhang Yao did not feel it was right to make decisions for him without his consent. At this moment, Zhang Yao was filled with struggle. As Mrs. He spoke, the 9 female divine venerables also nodded to Zhang Yao and said, "Yaoer, don't worry. This Yi Chun, being the first to break through to the 21st level, is someone we have personally witnessed overcoming many marvels. He will be fine." Zhang Yao nodded slightly. Having spent time with Mrs. He and the 9 female divine venerables, she already knew how powerful they were. With their reassurances, Zhang Yao's troubled mind finally gained some peace. In the end, Zhang Yao's gaze returned to the light screen, looking at Yi Chun within it. "Yi Chun, you will definitely be all right. Wait for me to complete the second phase of training set by Grandma and the others, and I'll come find you." Chapter 600 Death and Life. The 21st floor of the Undersea Divine Palace. Seeing his own words caused the 3 people in front of him to simultaneously change complexion drastically. God King Yobua burst into laughter. "Indeed, the more I think about it, the more I believe my method is excellent." Amidst the hearty laughter, God King Yobua swept his grand sleeves, and the Yubao Hall once again flew out from the patterns of his tattered robe, whoosh whoosh whoosh, enlarging in the wind before landing in front of Yi Chun, the elder of the Flying Spirit clan, and the elder of the Vermilion Bird clan. This time, even the grand doors of the Yubao Hall swung wide open, revealing the interior of the hall. Yi Chun and the 2 elders could clearly see that 10 eyes of creation, radiating a divine purple-red light, were indeed floating within the grand hall of the Yubao Hall. God King Yobua had not lied. The 21 eyes of creation were truly in his possession and indeed stored within the Yubao Hall. "I'll give you 10 breaths to decide. If no one chooses to participate in the battle to the death with only one survivor within 10 breaths, then none of you will be able to take away these 10 eyes of creation, and you also won't be able to proceed to the pathway leading further down. If one person chooses to participate and the other 2 do not, then the 10 eyes of creation will belong to that one individual. If 2 participate, then those 2 will have a contest, and the remaining 1 will have no chance. Of course, if all 3 of you are willing to join the fight to the death, then all the better. The person who survives will own the 10 eyes of creation. Now you have 10 breaths. Begin making your choices." After God King Yobua finished speaking, the eyes of the elder of the Flying Spirit clan and the elder of the Vermilion Bird clan instantly reddened. The 10 eyes of creation were laid out clear before their eyes. They didn't have a single eye of creation in their hands yet, and when the time comes for the great purge and slaughter, if they still didn't have the eyes of creation, then they would only have one path left, death. Now, with the eyes of creation right before them, they naturally wanted to seize them. Moreover, among the 3 of them was Yi Chun, their sworn enemy. They were even more eager to kill Yi Chun and be done with it. Almost instantly, the elder of the Flying Spirit clan and the elder of the Vermilion Bird clan made their decisions, their faces showing a resolute expression, both turning towards each other. "Old friend, it seems only one of us can live, but before that, let's eliminate this kid Yi Chun first." "Ha-ha! Then let us," the 2 old brothers, "have one final face-off." In their mutual glances was not only resolution but also a touch of greed hidden very deep within. The greed to possess all of the eyes of creation for themselves. After the 2 exchanged messages, they directly turned to face God King Yobua and simultaneously declared, "Lord Yobua, we will join the battle to the death with only one survivor. And you, little lad?" Hearing that both the elder of the Flying Spirit clan and the elder of the Vermilion Bird clan wanted to join the fight, God King Yobua nodded his head in satisfaction, finally turning his gaze to Yi Chun. Yi Chun looked at the 2 elders with a calm gaze. He had been hesitating over whether or not to use Emperor Yan's triple flash triple kill. If these 2 were not seeking his death, then the feud between them could possibly be resolved later, during the more pressing search for the Eye of the Divine Sea. However, now seeing both of them with murderous intent and directly staring at him, evidently wishing to eliminate him first, Yi-chun naturally would not hesitate. If these two were courting death, then he would grant their wish. If that's Lord Yobwa's arrangement, then Yi-chun will participate as well. And of course, I would also like to have the 10 eyes of creation, Yi-chun said indifferently. Seeing Yi-chun agree, a flicker of unease crossed the hearts of the elder of the Flying Spirit clan and the elder of the Vermilion Bird clan. They had not expected that Yi-chun would dare to join what was essentially a deadly trap. Did Yi-chun have confidence in opposing both of them, or had he been dazzled by the reward of the 10 eyes of creation? However, that unease quickly vanished from the minds of the two. In this situation, no matter what, they had to kill the other two. With only one person allowed to survive, they obviously wanted to ensure their own survival. Good, good, good. Seeing that all three had agreed, the madly laughing god King Yobwa exclaimed, "Indeed worthy of those who could fight their way to the 21st floor, truly decisive in killing and resolute in thought. Since that's the case, enter the Yubao Hall. Whoever remains alive at the end, the 10 eyes of creation inside will belong to them." After God King Yobwa finished, the elder of the Flying Spirit clan and the elder of the Vermilion Bird clan rushed towards the Yubao Hall. Their goal was to claim the 10 eyes of creation first. After glancing at God King Yobwa, Yi-chun's figure flashed, and he shot into the Yubao Hall as well. The Yubao Hall's interior space spanned thousands of feet, with an even greater height of several hundred feet. Once the elder of the Flying Spirit clan and the elder of the Vermilion Bird clan flew in, they directly grabbed 5 of the 10 eyes of creation floating in the void. Then, as if by prior agreement, they both turned to Yi-chun. With murderous intent blazing in his eyes, the elder of the Flying Spirit clan glared fiercely at Yi-chun and said, "Let's get rid of this kid first, and then we too can have our showdown. The survivor takes all the eyes of creation. All right, let's," the two old brothers, join forces one last time. The elder of the Vermilion Bird clan nodded in agreement. Seeing the expression of the two men, a hint of disgust flashed through Yi-chun's eyes. "Old brothers? You who collaborated in slaughtering the Divine Phoenix clan for profit, and now turn against each other for the same reason, fighting to the death, dare to call each other brothers. Men die for wealth, birds die for food. I see it fits you well. Enough. Let me clear all the blood debts stained on your hands today." Yi-chun gently touched the invisible Emperor Yan's triple flash triple kill tattoo on his right hand, 3 blue and 3 red divine marks, and spoke out. What a sharply tongued young man. Hearing Yi-chun uncover their thoughts without care, both the elder of the Flying Spirit clan and the elder of the Vermilion Bird clan's faces turned red with anger, their killing intent surging. "Your sharp tongue is useless. Today will be your death. Without the help of a 9th calamity true god. Let's see how arrogant you can be." In the midst of speaking, the divine power aura on the 2 9th calamity true gods burst forth abruptly. This was the aura that only manifested after passing through 9 heavenly tribulations. As it burst forth, the entire void instantly filled with this terrifying aura, laden with a destructive killing force, and directly rolled towards Yi-chun. These 2 9th calamity true gods made their move without hesitation, regardless of the difference in realm, intent on directly killing Yi-chun. Outside the Yubao Hall, seeing the 2 9th calamity true gods launch an attack on Yi-chun, God King Yobwa, with his ragged clothes and disheveled hair, squinted his eyes and looked at Yi-chun. "I always felt this young man was not simple, but with 2 9th calamity true gods attacking him together, even if he is formidable, he's facing certain death. Ha ha! Indeed, indeed, my trap being able to kill such a genius, it's quite an accomplishment." Inside the 33rd layer of the Undersea Divine Palace, Jiang Yao watched the 2 clan elders attack together, her pale palms clenched tightly, her eyes revealing an intense wish to fly to Yi-chun's side. "Continue your saga on Novelbin. Calm." Seeing Jiang Yao's complexion, Mrs. He from the Sovereign Realm also stood up, her large hand gently spreading wide, as if she had the vast space of the Undersea Divine Palace's 33rd layer in her grasp. And in her hand, she formed a spatial transit point in an instant which was right inside the Yubao Hall. Mrs. He had promised Jiang Yao that she would intervene if Yi Chun was truly in mortal danger. Now, with the spatial transit point in her hand, should she decide to help, not even the heaven-reaching divine artifact Yubao Hall or the different levels of the undersea divine palace could stop her. In the midst of countless gazes filled with expectations, tension, or attention, just as the elders of the Flying Spirit and Vermilion Bird clans, their minds clouded with killing intent, desired to be the last ones standing and joined forces to strike at Yi Chun. Seeing the killing force of the 29th Calamity True Gods approaching, Yi Chun let out what seemed like a sigh, then his gaze turned resolute. His right hand suddenly clenched, and in that instant, a shocking red light flashed out from his palm. This shocking red light, even as it flickered, caused the entire heaven-reaching divine artifact Yubao Hall to feel like it was trembling on the verge of collapse. Had this red light not had another target for its attack, any diffused energy might have caused the Yubao Hall to be obliterated into fragments. At this moment, the target of this shocking red light was none other than the combined killing force of the elders of the Flying Spirit and Vermilion Bird clans, and the elder of the Flying Spirit clan himself. Boom! It was as though it was devouring everything. The aura that covered the entire Yubao Hall from the 29th Calamity True Gods was completely devoured into nothingness the moment the shocking red light flashed from Yi Chun's palm. Then, with virtually no delay, this shocking red light shot towards the elder of the Flying Spirit clan. And then, under the disbelieving stares of the two clan elders, the elder of the Flying Spirit clan was instantly penetrated through the forehead with a bloody wound and was killed on the spot. A 9th Calamity True God, the chief culprit behind the calamity of the Divine Phoenix clan, met his instantaneous demise. In the moment of his death, the elder of the Flying Spirit clan's eyes flashed with the hardships of his cultivation to become a 9th Calamity True God. He remembered how he led countless members of his clan to slaughter the Divine Phoenix clan for the Nirvana Pool and Phoenix Divine Blood. It also flashed through his mind the fear he felt when he was pulled into the undersea divine palace in the divine sea but could never obtain the eye of creation. He had lived a lifetime in pursuit of power, his hands stained with countless blood, and yet he could not escape the fate of death. Regret. So much regret. Fear. The fear of facing death. This was the final expression of the elder of the Flying Spirit clan. But in the end, all his expressions vanished along with his death, dissipating completely. Boom! The body of the elder of the Flying Spirit clan plummeted from the void to the earth, instantly turning to nothingness. The 5 eyes of creation he had just seized and some other trinkets and storage pouches of his fell to the ground, emitting tremble-inducing clinks. The red light released by Yi Chun was a killing technique from Emperor Yan's triple flash triple kill he had acquired from the game of divine creation. This technique, if used to kill the elder of the Flying Spirit clan, whether he was a divine king or a divine venerable, would leave him with no choice but death.